All right. Welcome to Roll for Story. And we are resuming our little arc in the Claude Coast. So today, to give us a little recap, we have Llewellyn on what happened last week.
So we continued our journey towards the Claude Coast, but we were on the Crab Gem, which was this strange salt crystal island. And we finished our talk with this Genasi who was studying the stars and was very interested in Andy and her clock.
Hmm.
And then guided us towards where he'd noticed some people had been before, a cave, and there was a lot of crabs in there, and a glass door that we couldn't go through, and we wasted high-level spells to try and get through, and tried to dispel it, and all it took was to walk like a crab through it sideways, and we wasted a lot of time on that because it was supposed to be really important because we couldn't fight the curiosity. And then we found a pool of water with a page on it that was some sort of riddle about taking some of this water that's the purest water. And we managed to do so. And that was it. We don't know
Nice.
what else was to do with that. So we continued our journey to the Damzires village. Is it
Yeah,
village?
they are
Return
in their own port.
port.
And the name of that port is. You can pronounce it for us.
Oh
Is
god. Yeah, let me just actually look what.
Just pick a name you can't say, you know?
I'd say Pharrea.
Pharrea.
Yeah, Port Pharrea.
Pulver here.
Yes.
And we brought some salt with us, which Carius has already sold about a third of to help his sister Norali.
Yep.
Yeah, who was having an argument with a couple of customers. So Carius helped out with that. Llewellyn doesn't know how to greet friends, parents, family, because we usually come across bad people and kill them. The Tan's family, the Tan's family liked the whole bowing and like proper respect sort of introductions. Carius's family doesn't seem to have the same sort of ideals of how to be greeted, but Llewellyn does it all the same. And we met his mother as well, and I would like to say youngest sister, Didani.
Yes, we met Didani, Narrowly, Rylers, and I believe Dacilis was there, like doing the cooking.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That she was.
Yeah. And your youngest sister was very interested in Kashan, the cat person.
Yep.
And
Now I'm
that's-
really tempted to do something.
That's kind of where we left off. There was a bit extra that wasn't to do with our party. It was describing Carius's father and eldest brother.
No, one of my sisters.
Or was it one of your sisters out at sea fighting some sort of enemies?
Okay, that was a strange recap, but we got all that in the end. Cool. All right. So basically, yes, there was a scene of exposition. Just if anything, you could imagine it might be what Carius's mother is seeing in her own visions. But there were two gigantic humanoid figures laden with kind of shell-like armor and wielding like tridents, and they were locked in battle. Two competitors warring at sea, and their bodies were so huge that they rose up above the surface of the water. And as they clashed in battle, so too did the sky sort of clash with lightning, and it seemed like this storm was kind of brewing from the epicenter of this battle. And some way far off from that, we saw Carius's father, and he had lashed himself to the wheel of the ship and was wrestling against this said storm. And it seems as though he may be off course, because right now there is a very concerned look upon he and the daughter aboard, which
I believe
is
it was Sazor.
Saza, yeah,
Saza.
Saza.
Because she was being basically taken away to be distracted from boys.
Yeah, effectively.
Yeah,
That's
a,
right.
a lot of family members, so it's really hard to figure out which
There
one's
is.
which.
I mean,
And she thumbed a coin, sort of turning it in her hand restlessly to sort of maybe either comfort herself or distract herself. Okay, this so yeah, that's everything. So going back in, at the moment we are based in the Damzire estate, so to speak. There is Riles, Narrowly, Carius, Dodani of the Damzire family currently in the room. You're being told to gather the family for a great feast for Carius's return and the success that he has brought to the Damsir name. For you seem to have been given an advance payment.
Yep, I did. I didn't do any of the work, but I got all the booty. In a way.
Yeah,
I
you
mean, I
did.
saved him. I saved him from a pseudo kraken. That's
I mean,
kind
yeah,
of
it saved his damn life.
yeah.
Good enough for him.
Yeah. Right.
Oh yes, and one last little tiny thing is you have not yet mentioned what is potentially stirring. Not saying you have to, but that's just something that you haven't. Just in case.
I believe I asked. We've mentioned the storm, but not why in detail.
Right.
Because Mother was essentially sensing it, and we sort of had a look. Right. Let me just So the only one who we won't be able to find is Sazo, right? The rest will be out and about somewhere. And Dad.
Narrowly says, "Yeah, I've delegated them to do their tasks for the day, but
Right.
if you want to gather them quickly, no time to lose, then you seem like you're in a hurry."
For various reasons, it's good to mostly because, of course, it's good to see everyone. So, Irina, you remember your way around mostly, right? You've been here.
Question: How well do I remember the area?
I'd say you.
Like,
I'd say
considering I
you've
write
got
everything down in my journal, I'd assume I potentially have a map that I've made, but things might have changed in the 10 years I was stuck in the capital.
Yeah, you've got your bearings around here. You wouldn't get lost.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. I remember where all the great pubs are, so easy.
Not to mention, it's fairly open air. There's no like high walls like in Weep or something blocking vision. You can clearly see your destination if you just look out across the port. But it's not like a city or a sprawling town. It's just a port.
I will probably say to speed things up then, if we split into two groups, which would be you with one, me with the other. That way we can round them up a bit quicker.
Sure.
Do you want to take Kashan and Andy, I guess? And I'll take Llewellyn.
Sure. You take the troublemaker. It's good.
Don't
That's the sun and moon split. Team Moon, Team Sun.
Yeah.
Don't,
Or do we want to spice things up and change it up? Do you want to take Llewellyn this time?
No, you can take the troublemaker. I'm good.
Oh,
you sounded so enthusiastic about it, Carius, when you said, I'll take Llewellyn.
It was more. I forgot there was only one extra person. I'm so used to there being 6 players. So I was just like, it's an even 3-3 split, and I'm like, no, it's not.
It's fine. We'll track down as many as we can as quickly as we can.
Andy puts her hand up. She's like, actually, I think I would prefer to stay here until I know if I'm safe to be out on the street.
Well, you mean if you're still a wanted criminal?
right.
Well,
I'll look out for wanted posters for you.
Thank you.
well, then perhaps Andy, you can help my sister in the kitchen. She'll probably need at least a taste tester or something.
That's fine.
She-
Lord help
She's
you.
like, you want me in the kitchen?
Say goodbye
Yes.
to all that food.
If you eat all the food, at least one of my sisters may beat you. So just keep that in mind. They're used to dealing with.
Well, she's going to have to try and catch me. Wanted
just-
criminal.
I just sort of looked to you and I'm like, they've had to deal with me before, so.
But she can literally disappear into the ethereal.
That is true. I just sort of looked at her narrowly and. Do you know what? Didani. Don't let her
Yeah?
out your sight.
What?
Oh,
Don't
this
let
is
that
going
one
to
out
be
your
fun.
sight.
Okay.
It's a game. If she manages to escape, you've lost.
Andy
Okay.
puts the cloak on now.
Yeah.
She's already lost.
She tries to grab a hold of the cloak as you're leaving. If you're
and
indeed going into the astral sea.
Oh my god.
and
I say to Irina, good luck with Kashan. You think I'm the troublemaker? He's my partner in crime.
Yeah, but without you, he's fairly easy to handle. It's you that has all the bad ideas, as well-intentioned as they are.
Kashan has
may-
had as
then-
many ideas.
then maybe you should take Llewellyn with you so you can show him the error of his ways of your infallible logic.
I'm not falling for that crap. He's yours. Just don't let him lose the robes.
See, that's another reason. If he comes with you, you can make sure he doesn't lose them.
That's a fair point.
Right, guys. Can you stop
All
trying
right,
to
I'll
pass me
take
around?
Llewellyn then.
Stop-
Alright, I'll take
take
Llewellyn to
Llewellyn.
take Sean.
I'll take a shot.
Wow.
Huh?
A fair point.
Yeah, I've had
what's
to love you a
going
fair
on?
amount. Right, Kashan, you're coming with me to find some of my family. You know what? I'm gonna go find some.
Don't crack your knuckles.
Right, so we need to find Zerilius,
Oh,
Nakini,
Lightheaded.
Risse, and Lahiri.
Oh.
Right?
Why do you have so many siblings? This is ridiculous.
When a
I
mother
just-
and a father
Wow,
love each
wow,
other
wow.
very much.
I'm just like, well, Andy, why don't you ask my mum that whilst we go?
I
So-
will.
It's
Yeah,
because
she-
tieflings are very horny.
What does that mean?
Oh no.
I've never had this talk with you before.
Wait. Oh God.
That was a good one.
We don't need to go into that.
Right. You know what?
Moving on.
Right. Irina, if you look for, actually considering age, if you look for Lahiri and Brizzy, I'll look for the other two. Because they'll know who I am, whereas they probably won't know who you are.
Oh,
So
the younger ones, yeah, that's how you know. Yep.
We're looking
Yeah,
for
so you look for-
Lahiri and
Yeah.
Brizzy.
So Brizzy, if memory serves, was the one who wants to be an adventurer and is doing something to do with pirates. If I remember right.
Okay, yeah.
This is what you said last week.
Yeah,
I,
yeah, no.
I cannot remember what Lahiri was doing. So Aurelius is training,
Training.
and I cannot remember what Nikini was doing either.
Bikini is. Hold on, I could bring up my own notes.
I'm normally good at remembering
In
these.
the farming one. Oh, hold on, I'm bringing up my notes.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
Sending
Let's
my
see.
notebook.
Okay. She's gone fishing.
Yes. So Nikine went fishing. Lahiri was.
She is gathering special flowers for the rituals and prayer to
Yeah, that
Riley.
makes sense. Right, so
Finding offerings for
I'm
her.
right, so remembering that, and right, let's who do I want to start with? Do I want to go annoy my brother or find my sister? Whereabouts is Aurelius training? I just ask because I don't think that was detailed.
Right. So he'd be off to the north, I think. That's my best guess. That's what.
Alright. This actually, Kashan, you're the ideal person for this, so let's head off. Let's go find my brother.
Certainly.
Okay. You think you're going in that order, but
That's
well, I'm changing up the order. So effectively, we can go with. Well, we can go with. Hold on. Who's the other group looking for?
they're looking for Lahiri and Brizze. Basically, they're taking the older ones because they would probably recognize Irina, whereas the younger ones won't.
Okay. Cool. Yep. Makes sense.
We're going to the one that's dealing with pirates, and I look like a pirate.
Yes.
Yes!
More significance.
Perfect. All right. Well, in that case, then.
You've literally dealt with pirates. We were
That is
part
true.
of a pirate crew for a while.
In that case, then, you guys head off into the port itself. Makes the most sense. Let's go there. Okay, so you enter into a busy port. There is the occasional warehouse as well as a lot of what they call, smaller kind of like docks and vessels, all kinds of different types of boats as well, not just traditional sails, ones that are clearly from the capital where they use more like magic to actually manipulate the boat and push it forward, relying not on the wind but on like water power. And that's the water ganassi you met last time, actually, with their kind of pseudo steam powered engine, effectively. But yeah, it seems like a couple of different nations may come here to trade, but there are a few pubs as well that you can just walk into as well. There's not many doors here. It seems like they like to keep a nice breeze, so there are shutters, but they're well open. And yeah, there's a lot of people kind of doing trade. You can smell the salty, fresh air, and on that wind, you can also smell kind of produce, fish, all kinds of trade going on here. There's colorful, bright silks being traded as well as you kind of go through a small little marketplace. It's not much of a marketplace, but it seems like some people have set up stalls to sell their wares.
I do have things to sell, but
It's a
I
mini
feel
trading
like
hub.
they probably wouldn't go for much in such a small place like this.
I mean, we have a job to do. We're looking for Carius's family.
That
We
too.
can shop another time.
It's not shopping. It's the opposite.
It's trading.
That. But yeah,
It can wait.
why have we come here again? Who are we looking for?
We're looking for Lahiri and
And Brizzes, but which one is this? Is it Lahiri who's dealing with pirates in the pier? I believe so. No, Brizzes dealing with pirates in the pier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the one.
Let's go find these pirates.
Don't cause trouble.
Why would
I'll
you think?
dimension door you into the middle of the ocean and leave you there. Don't test me.
Oof.
Why? I've dealt with being in the middle of the ocean. Why do you think I would cause trouble?
Because it's you. You cause trouble no matter where you are.
Right.
You
Well,
can't help it.
Well, don't go causing trouble by exploding.
That's not funny.
Neither.
Did you say exploding? Got fresh gunpowder for sale.
And don't go
No,
near that
thank
stall.
No, thank you. And I'm just going to carry on.
Oh, all right. As you're going around, I'd like you to both make a perception check to see if you can spot any blue-skinned tieflings.
Sure. This should-
Perception. Bloop.
Oh. 30.
I'm too busy. Keeping away from all the gunpowder clearly stored in the docks.
That makes sense. All right.
You made me uneasy now. I hope you're happy.
Yeah. So you're just dodging, kind of backing away from a stall of gunpowder into another guy who's like, fish, and
I see.
Capture me, Byron.
I see some horns in the distance, and I just grab Irene and drag her along.
Yeah, you do see a pair, and oh, what do we got here? And they move almost as fast as you do. When you're trying to catch up to them, through a little small crowd, you see them barging their way past, and yeah, it seems like they're on the move. And what are we? Where are we? Oh, let me get back here. There we go. They are a straight pair of horns that go like straight upwards. There's no real curvature to them aside from the fact that they curve out of the head and then just point straight up. They almost kind of look like, I don't know, like a pair of foxes in the way they kind of just point straight up. Then, as you're following them through the crowd, you can catch up to them if you want, but it seems as though they have a notebook in hand and a pencil that they're furiously scribbling into, and they seem to be making notes. You see that they are wearing quite posh-looking leather attire. There is a nice jacket with kind of a white undershirt as well. It's kind of splayed out and performing like a nice collar. They've got like high leather boots, and they look like they could even be aboard like an admiral's vessel or something with that kind of attire. But she's got sharp eyes and the facial features that seem to be putting stuff together, like calculating something in her head right now. And she's looking at her notes, kind of like flicking through the pages. It's one of those, what are they called? It's the notebook you can like flip over.
She's literally doing a Columbo right now.
Yeah.
One more thing.
just like shouting from like a distance as we get close, just like, Lady Damzire.
I'm literally gonna send Candlewick ahead, just like smoky form, just to kind of like float around the notebook to get her attention, so she knows it's me.
Okay, sure.
Lady Damzire. Lady Damzire.
She seems to be almost completely distracted as you're trying to shout this, and then you can hear her voice as you're getting closer, and she seems to be, as you come around the corner, she seems to be questioning someone. There is a disheveled-looking sailor sat on the top of a barrel, and he's kind of nursing a wound on his head right now. And she's asking, "Okay, and where was this? To the east?" And she's like scribbling more notes. What can you tell me? What do you remember? And Irina, you see the smoke kind of go around her, and she's like, she kind of wafts it away. Even she doesn't seem to recognize it at first. But yeah, you see this individual right here.
Well, that's a fine hello.
Huh? She finally turns around, seeing you two, right, almost like right next to her. And she looks, and there's a sign of amazement. Suddenly, like, Irina, what? You're here? That
Yeah, so
means
is your brother.
I was about to say that must mean my brother, and that means that he's returned with riches. And she scribbles down a note. He must have completed his task, which means you're here to collect me for some sort of feast. She seems to have already put all of this together without you even telling her.
I mean, still as smart as ever.
It's another Detan.
Yeah, almost. She says,
So,
well, as much as I would like food right now, I can't. I've got a scoop to follow.
What you working on?
She looks around and gets close and whispers, "Pirates. They could be
To the
anywhere."
person with the eye patch.
Wait, hold on. Yeah.
Wait. Since has it been an hour since leaving the Damzires estate?
She looks down and she goes, Irina? She hands you her notepad, and it says, like, there's a description, and there's like a crude drawing, and it's like eye patch, hook hand, and
he's the worst pirate you'll ever meet.
Has it been an hour? Because I did have alter self up last thing, but if it's been an hour, then it's worn off. But
yeah, it would have worn off by now.
oh no, I do look like
He
a
says,
pirate.
Irina, help me detain this person.
As much as I'd love to see that, he's not an actual pirate. I can promise you that. He's not even very good at what he's supposed to do. So
Hey, I'm actually a wizard.
She looks up and down. That explains the robes.
those aren't his. Those are not his.
So you stole them, which means you are a pirate.
No.
She draws her cutlass.
I didn't steal them. I found them in a dungeon holding a. I don't have to justify myself.
Yes, you do.
And the pirate who's sitting, not the pirate, the sailor who's sitting on the barrel just says, no, that's not him. Calm down. And she goes, huh. But if you're a wizard, you could be using an illusion.
As much fun as it would be for you to arrest a villain, really, he's harmless to most people.
Well, it'd be a citizen's arrest.
I'm harmless unless you're my enemy.
That sounds like a threat.
No, that's just
Anyway,
facts. But
if
you're...
we can help you wrap this up, we can be on our way.
Okay, so this is what I got so far. This sailor here had an encounter with the... what were they? The rusty scimitars. She rolls her eyes. Okay, cool. Typical pirate name. And where are they? What? You got attacked, you say? Your ship kind of ran ashore? And he kind of nods. It's to the east. There was... the pirates were, like, right on us. It's like they came out of nowhere. Like, they may have been hiding. And... like, I mean, like, around one of the archipelagos, perhaps. Not the archipelagos, the peninsulas. Anyway, our ship ran ashore. And whilst they cut down the other sailors, I managed to escape. There's blood stains on that shore now.
Where on
That's been taken.
Where on the shore would you say it is in terms of the pier?
Points out to the east of the pier, near Shamshir Cove.
Anything else that's worth mentioning before we head off?
There was they had these other creatures with them. Some were like scaled, some were like smooth skinned with long tongues. Some were like these weird like bear like creatures. I've hardly seen that many races in one place.
Does
They're a
any of
mix-
that sound like? Do any of those sound familiar?
Yeah, you can roll me an intelligence check.
The
One of them
skill.
probably sounds very familiar to Llewellyn by the sounds of it, because it sounds familiar to me.
Yeah, the skills make me think of like the sanguine that we dealt with, or
Mhm.
maybe merfolk, or
I was thinking more the long-tongued one, but whatever.
long tongue.
20.
Yeah.
20, yeah.
Oh, Yuan-Ti.
Racius has already also made notes of all of them, and she tells you to turn the page. And as you do, you look and confirm all your suspicions. There seems to be lizard folk
Oh, lizard.
and also the bear-like humanoids are definitely bugbears. As for the long-tongued ones, that's a little bit up in the air, but you definitely can confirm most of them to be humanoid creatures that have banded together. A mix of bugbears, lizard folk, and humans.
Okay, and what exactly were they after?
Anything they could grab, most likely. Well, they didn't leave many survivors. Ugh. Normally they're a bit more subtle. Don't know what forced their hand so suddenly.
Is there anything specific that if we find you'd like back? Like, is there anything personal to you on that ship?
I'm just a sailor. I was a
Do they-
worker on the ship.
What's their like emblem, like their flag or whatever? Rusty
flag?
scimitar.
Well, I believe theirs is like 2 crossed scimitars.
That's creative.
Mm-hmm.
The number of people who are gonna have that as their emblem, it's ridiculous. Okay.
As bad as the Jolly Roger.
Literally. Alright,
Sounds
Pirates aren't known for their originality.
this is true.
They're all the same. They're a scourge of the sea.
I've met some honourable pirates in the past, but there's not many of those about.
I'm assuming because they're pirates, they're not registered at the dock.
No, but there are some shady dealings occasionally. Briseis has been the one to follow it up. And she nods and says, "Yeah, I've been tracking some suspicious ongoings in the dock for a while now. But this is abrupt. It seems like they're making a play. There could be something bigger. They might even be luring us to them. Shamshir Cove is dangerous waters at the best of times, but to attack so close to it, I'm guessing they must have a hideout there. Somewhere
Well,
they could retreat to.
it would make more sense to group with the others, let everybody know in case anybody sees something or hears something. There's no point in us charging in on our own.
On the contrary, this is a hot trail. I can't leave it. I'm heading in. And she folds up her
That's a
notepad.
really stupid thing to do.
Where's your sense of fun, Irina?
They're just pirates. We've dealt with them before.
They're just pirates.
She sheaths her cutlass and says, "Besides, I've got you two, so we're already a full group. Let's go." And
No, this is
sprints
stupid.
off.
I like this one.
She sprints off.
Oh.
Okay, and there's the
no.
Carius of the
Yes.
side of things. That's exactly what Carius would
I-
do.
Yeah.
Irina, curiosity kills the cat, but there's no cat here, so.
Mhm.
This is what I meant when I said trouble.
Seems-
God damn it, Carius! And I'm just gonna follow them.
I mean, if you want to send your familiar to find the others, you could, Llewellyn. Just a
I-
suggestion.
I sh-
Already.
I'll send my familiar to try and find Carius to say
Okay.
that we're heading towards Shamshir Cove.
Gotcha. All right. Cool. So I'm just gonna copy you guys. I'll drag you onto the map in a minute.
Irina's just muttering about not. She's not supposed to be the responsible one.
Oh, cool. Go over there. Doop-a-doo.
This is such a bad idea.
Yeah. But you split the party, so hey. All right. What do we got here?
Oh, God.
Oh, that's right.
Let's have a-
Do find me. Okay, cool. All right. So, you begin heading off to the Shamshir Cove. Meanwhile, you guys on, what is it? Kashan Carius. Okay. So,
Yep.
where you were heading first? You were heading to find your brother.
Yep,
Mm.
because finding him first seems a good thing, and then I can slap him potentially.
God. Okay.
Yes,
All
Carius
right.
is going to go slap an 11-year-old, don't mind me.
It's alright, it's a mood in all of us.
Sure. Okay, then. In that case, then I'll just bring you back over to this. Let's go back, actually. All right. So these guys are over here. We go over there. So to go around to the north, you would actually need to head to the west first, and then up.
I mean, I could also just fly on my glaive.
You could fly you both if you want to do that. That's an easy shortcut.
Yep.
Cool. Okay then, that works. All right. So, heading deep and into the desert, flying over the docks, past the western coast. You're approaching just what seems to be an endless desert. You know, at this point, Gaidia would be all the way to the north, and this is kind of just barren desert in between. A lot of people make travel through here though, but they sometimes go past Mirage Mountains as well, due to there being more like sources of food and water and shelter as well. The desert is a bit more hostile and untamed. So heading out, you know a clear bearing, but I'd like you to both make me perception checks anyway.
Gotcha. Kushan's probably panting within like 5 minutes of setting off. He's got fur. He's not used to the heat.
Yeah. that's true.
Perception, you said.
Yeah,
Yes.
not great for me.
Oh, today was a 90!
Oh,
Yeah.
man, not great for you either. Okay, so you travel a good hour into the desert, and well, I'm afraid, Llewellyn, at this point, your familiar is not going to be able to catch up to them because they're just going deeper and deeper in, and your familiar is going to have a hard time finding them as well at this point. You can just barely see the shoreline still, but it's kind of going into the vanishing point at this part. So you're like 2 miles into the desert right now. Still no luck.
Right. Carius thinks for a moment.
Are we there yet?
Yeah. Well, possibly he could be right next, like just over there, or he could be quite a bit further.
Are
The
we
one
there
way
yet?
to find. Right. Kashan, I need you to do something. I need you to criticize me. Because as soon as someone criticizes me, Zerilius is normally there to show me up. So I'm hoping that will work.
Okay. Let me think of something. Your glaive flying skills are weak.
You know, I'm actually quite offended by that. But I just sort of look around and like, nope, no spontaneous appearance of my brother.
You expect there to suddenly be him like just appear out of the sand, and as you're looking down towards the surface, you don't see his head pop out, but you do see that there is some sort of stone jutting out from the sand, and it's peculiar because it's sort of sat upright, almost forming like a mini obelisk of sorts. And usually, if a stone was that big, it'd be laying flat.
I look at it for a moment and then I just sort of look in each direction from it to see if I see another one.
You do actually, funny enough, and it is probably. Let me think here. Probably about 500 foot from the other one. There's two.
Okay, so that's. My initial thought was that this was a finishing line or a starting line, but that's honestly quite a wide berth, unless there's lots of people. Right.
What
Carrot
exactly
is
are
gonna-
we looking for?
We're looking for a small 11-year-old version of me that basically does what I do, but better in every way, or at least used to.
But we're in a desert.
Yeah.
How do you think we're going to find something?
Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to fly up into the air and see if I see anything from higher up.
Okay.
Okay.
Is Kashan staying down here to like investigate these stones, or you just?
Oh
you're
hell
both
no!
going?
The sand is hot.
Okay, sure. Sand is very hot, actually. So
Yeah.
you've both flown up, and you're just sitting on this. How far up do you go?
200 foot, why not?
100 foot. Jeez. Okay, those two little way markers are like tiny dots now at this point. Let's think.
I'm
Roll
considering
another.
what it's meant to be training. I'm particularly looking for like big puffs of like dust clouds or like
Yeah,
fog sort of
yeah,
thing.
you'd imagine there'd be dust clouds. Roll a perception check. 16, not bad.
Hey.
Okay. You begin to see off in the distance there is another pair of these two kind of upright stones. And they're some 2,000 feet off from you. But it's another pair 500 feet wide.
Technically, that should not that it's important, but that should be a 17. I don't know why it seems to have knocked one off of my perception when I rolled it. Like it's should be +2, but it's rolling as +1 for some reason. Like it even says on the sheet +2. So, but I'm not sure why it's a +2 now that I'm looking at it
You're exhausted? No? I don't know.
because my wisdom's only a +1. So how's my perception a +2 without any proficiencies?
Have you got like a magical item that gives you +1 on all checks?
I don't think so. I'll look into that later.
Okay. Bizarre.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Just yep. So there's more of these way markers. I believe you said.
Yes, there are, yeah. There's another pair of them. But no sign of any dust clouds or anything.
Do these way markers look like they've been placed in like such a way as almost to, like line out a route, perhaps? I mean, I know that's literally what they normally are, but
It does feel like there might be more and more. You'd have to confirm it by going up and down which way. You'd have to like follow them to kind of confirm that.
yeah.
Because right now they might just form a square. Well, a very long square actually. yeah, a rectangle if anything. It's up to you. Did you want to? Because you can confirm that if you follow them.
Yeah, I'm gonna follow them for a bit as they look almost purposeful.
Okay, which way do you follow them? Going? I'll just say left or right. Which way do you go?
Ooh. My instinct is left, so I'm gonna go right.
Okay, cool. All right, that's fine. Sure. So you're heading right, and as you're following them, you start to see there is a curvature to these markers, and they begin heading north. And as you're going, both of you can roll me perception checks with disadvantage. So you probably travel a good few miles. You're flying.
Is it control shift for disadvantage or?
It's control.
Natural
Just
15.
8. So
Okay.
actually should be a +1. For some reason, I had an global ability score modifier of 1, which then wasn't being applied to the actual rolls for some reason.
Bizarre. I have no idea.
And I think
Okay.
that may have came from, I think, like I got a temporary buff at one point of everything +1, but
Yeah, that sounds like. Yeah, that sounds like it. Actually, you did get some wild magic surge or something.
yeah.
That does sound familiar. Okay, so Carius, Kashan, you are traveling by glaive, flying this curving markers as you go, and Carius is peering off into the distance, see if they can spot anything. And for the longest time, you don't see anything. You're just kind of hovering. Just how far up are you again? You're probably gonna have to be lower down because to
Yeah,
actually see the
probably
marker.
go a bit lower down, about 100 foot, maybe. Maybe only 50 foot. Don't need to be too high up at this point.
50 foot sounds good. All right. And Kishan, you're going along behind. So you're just on behind him, right?
Yeah. Well, sat on the
Side
glaive.
panel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your ears prick up as you hear something, and it sounds like a distant kind of rumbling. And you can also hear what sounds to be like a squeaking noise, like a metallic squeaking, and sounds like bearings of some sort. And then there's a rattling that becomes clearer and clearer. It's very distant. Sounds like it's echoing off.
Do I know which direction?
For the 15, it sounds like it's coming from
Well,
behind.
I got a 22.
It was a 15 plus 7.
It was a natural
Yeah.
15 plus 7.
Okay, yeah. In that case, it definitely sounds like it's coming behind you.
Okay. I look behind me.
Okay. What you was looking out for earlier? This is it. There is a massive plume dust cloud coming from behind you, and it is closing in fast.
Curious? There's something behind us.
I turn my head, look, and like, right, that
Is this what we're
Seems-
looking for?
it might be.
In the moment it takes you to tell Carius and for him to turn around, the dust cloud has already closed in on your position, and it is going probably way faster than you are right now because you're kind of going at like a steady pace to not impose like disadvantage on your perception. You're just going to go on a normal pace, but this is rushing towards you. It could be a stampede for all you know. But the first thing you could see at the very front of this pack, is what you can only describe as a floating ballista, and sat atop it, grabbing a hold of like two like handlebars at the front, is a blue-skinned tiefling with a pair of goggles over their face.
Oh god, they've invented pod racing in the town.
Did you say a ballista?
A ballista, yes.
Okay, perfect. Curious? Let me deal with this.
Okay. Yeah, you're kind of the ballista
Yeah.
expert.
I jump down and I kind of stand in the path And I just get into a defensive posture.
And Karis is just going to sort of float there. Probably readying.
You're literally gonna try and deflect missile.
Vicious mockery to insult his brother as they go past.
Oh god. Okay.
Kashan goes anime.
Yeah.
This would be interesting.
Yeah.
Oh,
This could end
Kashan.
so badly.
You need like the anime spark lines coming off it when he like grabs hold of it.
You're absolutely mad. Okay, Krishan. This tiefling like tries to like look up to get a clearer view of what's happening in front of it. It kind of looks a little bit confused at first, and then looks down, seems to like operate some sort of lever, and Kashan, yeah, this thing is closing in some 800 foot, 600 foot, 500 foot, and then suddenly you see something launch from the ballista. And it is bright. Whatever it is, it's kind of almost blinding. And it's streaking straight towards you. What do you do?
If it looks like a projectile, I am standing still. I am holding fast.
Well, that's the thing. Okay, it's holding fast. Cool. This projectile comes straight towards you, and it's this kind of long, extended, crackling beam, and as it flies into you, because you're going to try and deflect it, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not going to work. So that's what you see is not a projectile. You try to grab a hold of something and perhaps like push it or grab it, and as your hand pinches around this, it feels like a bolt of lightning has just struck through your body, and you didn't dodge it, so sure, I guess take 35 points of lightning. As you try to grab a hold of this bolt of lightning, you realize there's no projectile in there. It's simply like an actual bolt of lightning that he's fired.
Nice.
Yeah.
I am now like not sure which one's the bigger troublemaker, Kashan or Llewellyn. You've proven my point.
Yeah. Karis just sort of watches
Nice.
this and just sort of looks at Kashan and is just like
But that was the thing that shot from it.
Yes.
Okay, is that thing still coming towards me?
Oh yeah.
Perfect.
Karis, you're okay. Go.
as soon as he's within 60 feet of me, he's gonna hear my voice. I need him to make. Well, I'm just gonna shout out as I attempt to do this. I'm just gonna insult him, just like
Okay.
you call that a lightning bolt?
He passes.
Not
It
surprising. Of course he'd pass. He's used to carry. It's Carius. He's just got to auto succeed. I kind of want to give him advantage on any save against Carius.
So do I. Oh god. What did you say in response?
Doesn't need it.
Man, you didn't say.
In fact, after the lightning bolt, Kshan's going to very quickly go into his bag, pull out. Oh frick! Where is it? So I know what it's called. The extending pole. Stick one end in the ground and just wait.
Okay. So, 50 foot away from you, this thing speeds towards, and as it does, you see him pull back on the handlebars, and the ballista begins to lift up into the air, hover over Kasham, and instead towards Karis's route. And he just shouts, "Out of the way, roadkill! You smell like burnt fur." And Karis, as you shout this insult to him, he says, what does he say? Looks like your friend took that straight to the chest. But you know what? I'm still more shocked that you're trying to upset my race here. Either get off the track or chase. I don't know. It's a race after all.
They're 11 years old and they're
And you're
racing with
going in the wrong
guns.
direction.
Yeah. Well, I got here. I've only just got onto the continent, brother. You know, give me some credit. Kashan, why don't you... Actually, I just want to see if Kashan is able to do this. Kashan, you think you could beat this thing on foot?
How fast is it going?
Pretty fast. But you've got a good burst of speed. You might be able to catch to it.
How fast are we talking per 6?
How far can you move on your glaive, Carius?
I can move... Well, if I'm dashing, I can do 100 feet.
Cool. It can go 120 feet.
120 feet. I'm faster than it.
Yeah, right.
And that's without the burst of speed. I can go 100. I can go 150 feet around.
I'm going. Hey, brother. You see that waypoint over there? Which I'm guessing what you're going for.
He's not slowing down to talk.
My friend can beat you there. Beat him, Kashan. Beat him bad.
Perfect. And Kashan.
That's not even the finish line.
Beat him in the entire race, but make sure you beat him to every waypoint. And Paris is just gotta follow along.
Okay. So bear with me one.
So he's hovering some 50 foot above you, and as he whizzes past you, Carius, he's just telling you, get off the track or get in the race, he says.
You know what?
Go.
If I can move... Aha! I can outpace him as well.
Can you really?
Yes, because fast step is a bonus action.
Alright.
It's okay.
160 feet.
If it makes you feel any better, it's not gonna matter.
Okay. So as you see this flying ballista pass by you, which, by the way, it's got like all these streaks of painted lightning bolts down the side of the wood. There is something else coming straight behind you. That rattling and squeaking noise. You hear the sounds of yipping and laughter as well in the wind. And there is something catching up to you guys. The dust cloud wasn't kicked up from the ballista. It was kicked up from this huge, weird, like, truck mechanism which has massive wheels. One of them is like smaller than the other, but it's off balanced by the front two being the opposite in size. They should just put the two big ones at the back. Anyway, whatever it is, it's a contraption of wood, metal, and chaos. Because riding at the top is a pair of very dog-looking humanoids with like speckled skin, and they also have goggles as well.
Yeah. So, yeah, Karis is gonna cast Fast Step and start flying after his brother, and at the end of it, just like teleport 60 feet.
Alrighty. Oh yeah, here they are. Alright, let me just see if you're in range. Cool, you are. Okay, as you fast step out of the way, they're gonna take 2 shots. Oh my god.
Disadvantage.
Against Kashan, not
Cloak
against
of
me.
displacement.
Sorry. Is it Carius, not you, Sean?
Oh.
For some reason, it went for both of us, but whatever.
Yeah, I accidentally mistargeted. Okay, but so yeah, you're sprinting off. Carius, this natural 20 comes flying straight towards you, crits you for 9 points of piercing damage, as you see there's a long arrow sticking out of your arm.
Do I have that as
Ruthless.
I don't have access to that. That's a shame. That would be useful, but either way, I just sort of get hit, and I'm just like, wow, ow.
and you just hear this kind of yipping laughter again. And I think, Sean, your arrow misses as well. These two are in hot pursuit with you guys, with your brother in front. Oh yeah, I forgot to even give you the token. So, yes, Zerilius turns around, but as he hears this commotion just behind him, kind of like lifts off his goggles for a moment and just gives this cocky grin.
Yes, he looks like a
Always
prick.
one step behind. So there he is. Can we just bring him up to the full
He's
screen?
become worse.
How has he got worse?
Karis is literally just like,
There he is.
well,
So you guys are gonna fast step and what was
well,
the other one? Step the wind.
I'm fast stepping and dashing with my glaive, and he's dashing and stepping off the winding, I guess.
Okay, cool. Both of you can roll me a d20.
Oh no, it's become a skill check challenge. It's a chase
It's
scene.
become a chase, yeah, for sure. What do we got here? All right. Guess we'll use this. Okay, so what did you get? So Kashan, you're actually pretty good. You're speeding off and going along the ground. You're able to easily start to catch up with Zerilius. However, he is up in the air. Is there anything you wanted to do, or are you just going to try to overtake him?
How high above me is he?
He's about 50 foot up.
50?
Yeah. Because that's the same
Oh.
height that Carius rose to.
Really? Okay, in that case, I'll just overtake.
Yep, sure. Overtaking him. No worries. Okay, as for Carius, you got a complication.
Yep, I know. I don't know what the complication is, but I did just get hit by a critical hit arrow, so I'm assuming that's part of it. In my head.
Probably. Yep, that's it. That'll be the one. Oh goodness. Okay, you're entering into some turbulence. There is a bit of a whirlwind kicking up in front of you, like a dust devil, and it's only a smaller one, but it's definitely going to impede your approach. Need you to roll me a. It's either an acrobatics check. Yeah, I think no. Just go with that. Yep, acrobatics. 14 is ooh.
I mean,
It's just
bearing,
one.
I will say, just
Yeah.
to potentially add to this, that as part of, no, it's not that. It's not that. I wish I could remember my abilities. As part of my Storm Guide ability, I can, I think it's that one, I can manipulate the wind around me a little bit. So that might help in this case.
Wait, click it into the chat.
It's technically a bonus action, so I don't think I can do it because I'm using that for fast step thinking
Right.
about it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
In that case,
I
then,
swear I had one I could do it freely, but I can't find it.
in that case, in this instance, you see Cyrilius is up ahead of you. You try to get a lead on him, and as you blink forwards, you end up in the midst of this dust devil, not realizing it was quite so big from a distance. But now you're in it. You start to be tossed and turned, and you're getting like spun around on your glaive. You manage to hold on to it as best you can, but you're still kind of getting spun out effectively. And that's going to basically lose the rest of your movement this turn. So Zerilius has still got the lead on you. As for these guys, hey, what up, Steph? Roll me a d20. See what for the gnolls. see what they get.
Yeah.
Be my little pair of gnolls. Uh-oh, that's a complication. Okay. You rolled 7. Steep grade. Okay, cool. Fantastic. Uneven ground. Well, that's going to be ruinous for them. That's going to make them fall behind quite heavily. So what we'll do, uneven ground. Yeah, they're going to also need to make acrobatics checks to balance even atop their own strange wagon. I haven't even mentioned what it's being pulled by.
All I can imagine is it's like going over speed bumps and they're just like, no, I said to slow down!
Yeah. There are these 2 huge wargs, powerful wargs, like pulling the wagon along. And as they kind of like get tumbled into this, they get knocked into each other. Their heads kind of bashing. The gnolls atop are also kind of getting like lifted off their seats so high as they go over these bumps. So they'll make a saving throw. Wait, no. I mean, it's the same thing. Oh, God. Okay, so you can kiss one of the gnolls goodbye as he falls out of his seat and yelps and just lands and goes into a tumble. And yeah, he's not catching up this turn anytime soon. The other gnoll like grabs a hold of the lead, pulls himself back up. And he's like dangling on the side of the wagon though. Okay, cool. As for Zerilius, why don't Jamie, you make me a d20 roll for Zerilius.
D20.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, no complication. Fantastic. That's what we want. So yeah, 11 or higher, you don't get a complication. You're all good. So Zerilius, he just got his cocky smile. He's just like, catching up to you, Kashan. You're just ahead of him by about 30 or so foot, right? So, top of the round. Kashan, you can give me another d20. $14. No, you're good. No complication once again. So just speeding along, you see there's like a small riverbed coming up, and you're able to just dash down, maintain momentum without like tripping over yourself. And there is this steep incline on the other side, and you're able to just sort of dash up it again, kind of using your own light-footedness to offset the vertical incline. Zerilius, however, just probably going to pass straight over it. But Carius, you can give me a d20 as well.
Yep, and I've decided something that I'm doing. Of course I get it.
Come on!
Oh, another one. Good stuff.
Well,
Okay,
I
cool.
am going to say that rather than dashing for this turn, I'm going to be using my action to thunder step 90 feet, and then I'm going to fast step 60 feet, and then I'm going to go the 50 feet. So that's 200 feet, I think, this turn, if it works. But I'm obviously going to get at least some delay from this.
Okay, cool, yeah.
It's whilst fast step, I couldn't use them both in the same turn because they were spells. Once fast step's cast, it's no longer a spell. It's just a bonus action.
Nice. Nice.
Okay, nice indeed. Okay, Zerilius. Well, before we get onto this one, Jamie, make me another d20 roll, and Steph as well. Or,
Sounds good.
yeah, just give me one of those. So you want to see what Zerilius gets? Yeah, perfect. Okay. That was good this time as well. Alright, so what Zerilius does then, because he's not got a complication, he's going to be the source of your complications, Carius. He looks down and around, and you're passing over this huge cactus field right now. And he does something a little bit naughty, you could say. He swoops around, goes upside down, and lets loose a crackling lightning spell into the cactus. And as the field explodes, he then lets loose his gust of wind spell to sort of propel the needles up and into the air, forming like this spike growth in the air, effectively. Carius, you can roll me an acrobatics check with disadvantage, as he's effectively made like airborne caltrops for you, and they're blinding. Heck yeah. Okay, cool. So as you like get buffeted, tons of little needles fly into your skin and into your clothing, and you come out the other side of this cloud of cactus debris, just covered like a pincushion. And you know what? You also take several d4s.
Of course I do. I'm just like, this just sort of makes sense in a way. Like, I'm imagining that one of the issues is that Carius is, to some extent, overcompensating because he's determined to beat his brother, but that's sort of throwing him off. It's like, God damn it!
You just hears Aurelius like shout, "Eat my dust!" Or my
You'll eat
cactus in
what?
that case. I knew you was always as slow as a porcupine, but didn't think you actually looked like one.
He is asking for it.
Cool. I'm going to stay for the rest of that turn. You're kind of blinded as well. That slows your movement down because you're kind of having to like spend your.
Well, at least most of my movement is a bonus action and an action, so I'm guessing it just slows my normal movement.
Yeah, it does that. Yeah.
As you say that he's close to the ground to kick up dust, would you say he's around ground level now?
He is, but there's plenty of cactus between you and him. You could try and get to him, but you'd have to risk going through the same obstacle. It's up to you.
That's all fine. I'll wait for the obstacle to pass and then I'll get to him.
Okay, well, after the obstacle, he's going to fly back up, isn't he? So this is like your one chance if you want to try and get to him.
How far away is he?
Doesn't matter distance because you've got a lead. You could use your movement to turn as he's catching up, right? So you would intercept him. You're like here. Hold on.
So he's further than 10 feet, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah, further than 10 feet because you've got a lead on him. You'd have to either slow down and turn like this to intercept him.
Okay, I'll just continue.
Okay, cool. All right then. And as for the gnolls, it seems like he manages to see himself back up, give a whipping to his gnolls, to his wargs, and they just climb down the riverbed and up the other side. Okay, all right. Let's say at the very end of this round, you see in the distance there does seem to be a checkered flag strewn across, flapping in the desert. And this is the last round before you reach it. So roll one last d20, everyone, and we'll see what happens.
I do have something I could potentially do.
Okay.
Oh!
Very nice.
Yes! That was so nearly a 1.
Yay! No complication this time.
All right, and Steph and Jamie? Let's
How you
just
want
roll a
that?
d20 for the others.
Okay.
Jamie, roll low. Roll low.
Nah, I'm not gonna roll low.
Yeah!
Oh, God, the gnolls, the kings.
Oh!
Oh,
God damn it! I was
Roll
hoping
good. Yeah, fantastic. Good job. Zerilius has a perfect clean ride the whole way. So does Kashan, miraculously. But
Yep.
the gnolls are getting buffeted right badly. The last hazard. I'll let you describe me. The last hazard. Steph, what do these gnolls just absolutely get wiped out from? Could be like quicksand, could be a cliff that they didn't spot.
Don't think she had.
Oh. I asked, what is the last hazard that these gnolls encounter that completely wiped them from the race?
Okay, you said it went up sort of like the other side of like the riverbank.
Yeah.
I can imagine the wargs going too far and almost trying to spiral
Oh god.
and trying to keep control of that to stop them overshooting and just going whee.
So the wargs go up and
Like
on.
it's that scene in Rise of the Guardians. I hope you like the loop de loop. I hope you like carrots.
Love it. Okay. So yes, it gets steeper and steeper, and just at the very lip is where it's almost vertical. and the riverbed is at its steepest. And the two wargs, they kind of scramble up. The wagon's pulling on their reins, and they kind of get a bit choked, and they fall backwards, doing this small little loop-de-loop. But the wargs are so heavy that they end up getting pulled down on top of the wagon, and the knoll just looks up like, "Roo!" and sees the wargs coming down, crashing on top of them. The wagon is in splinters, and they slide to the base of the seabed again. I mean the riverbed. All right, that's them out of it. It's fine. They'll be all right. Meanwhile, 3 other racers are sprinting for the finish line, and Carius, you've been using like Step of the Wind each time, right?
Fast step, yeah.
Oh no, yes. Kashan's using Step of the Wind, and
Correct. Yeah.
yeah, okay.
Yep.
Okay, let's see what he's got up his sleeve. So, how far do you move? 150, right?
150 foot.
So you've got a 60-foot lead on him from those 2 turns. Actually 90-foot lead, because that's been 3 turns. So the finish line is in the distance, the last stretch before you, and Zerilius is just like looking behind him, checking Carius is not posing a problem. You're already quite far behind from that last round, so
Yep.
turns to Kashan.
Bring it.
He's tempted to shoot you again.
Do it, because I'm ready for it this time.
Fast step's a bonus action, isn't it?
Yep.
And what's the distance on it?
60.
60. Damn. He's gonna need more than that. Thunderstep is
An action.
okay.
Unless he's got the ability to quicken spells.
Oh yeah, sorcery points, of course. That makes no sense. All right,
Yep.
cool. Okay, perfect. In that case, then I know what we're gonna do.
Yeah, I'll wait till you say what he's going to do.
Okay, gotcha. What's gonna happen? Zerilius does fire towards you, Kashan. And as you do you ready yourself to sort of?
How far is Zerilius from me? I know I'm a bit behind, but how far behind?
You got half movement last turn, so
Which was 25 foot, but then I had 150 foot from my 2 teleports, so
you went.
175 foot.
Okay, he's gone 3 rounds of 120.
Yeah.
So he's.
So my first round would be. I
He's
lost my movement on the first round, but I still had the teleport, so that was 60. So then
He's gone 360 foot in total.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think.
You can work that out whilst Kashan. There is a streaking light flying behind you and arcing over your head.
Okay.
It doesn't seem to be aimed at you. Instead, as you kind of like get ready to dodge out of the way, it seems it was aiming directly in front of you, and it strikes into the ground, causing this small little geyser of dust to push up in front of you.
How high up is he, out of curiosity?
He's gone back up to the 50-foot height he was before.
Fuck's sake. I can't throw 50 feet high.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do I have anything? I just realised I've had marvellous pigments this entire time.
Yep. Regardless, I'm gonna need you to make a acrobatics check before this thing.
Oh, acrobatics. Easy.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go. 23.
Okay, cool. So, you probably dodge around to the side of this, or do you just jump straight through it? It's a question.
I'm gonna go straight through. I'm just gonna fucking bolt and just bullet through the mist.
Okay, cool. In that case, then, come through the mist, and as you shield your eyes up on the other side, and then pull back your arms, you see that Zarilius has come down to your level. He's only... Ooh, where is he? He's 15 feet from you, and he's looking like he's got a crackling lightning spell in hand, and he flings it underarm. Oh, sorry, yeah, like this, almost like he's shooting a web towards you. I need you to make a strength saving throw.
Strength saving throw?
Yep. He says, you move pretty fast, but let's see how strong you are. Oh, the git has got you. He casts Lightning Lure as a quickened spell. And as he grabs a hold of you, the lightning does hurt a little bit, but not as much as the lightning bolt from earlier. And you take... Let's see here. 7 points of lightning damage. It's nothing. And you are yanked backwards. He pulls you 10 feet in a straight line backwards, and he ducks underneath you as you're like flung over the top of him.
How close does he get?
Well, within 10 feet of you.
Within 10 feet? Perfect!
Within 5 feet.
Reaction, Sentinel.
He's not hitting someone else. He's hitting you.
Yeah.
Oh, you're saying if you want to try and hit him. Right.
Because
okay.
attack of opportunity plus Sentinel with
Sure,
Cheney
okay.
Dave.
Go ahead.
Let's go. Let's go. Come on. Cheney Dave. Cheney Dave.
He's trying to yank you back into that plume as well.
19?
Bloody hell. Yeah, that's still a hit. Even with that.
Booyah. And so with that, he can't move this round. And I'm not going to do the damage, but I'm also going to pull him back 10 feet.
Oh my god. Might be a window for Carius to come in out of nowhere.
Well, the thing is, if I've calculated my distance right, I've moved 435 feet.
Jeez. Well then, you would definitely be the lead at this point.
My last round, I moved 200 feet with Gladeful moved up 50 plus fast step of 60 plus thunder step again for that final 90 because I can still do them.
Fantastic. So he shot ahead of you. This plume of sand flied up, and as you come out the other side, he whipped onto you with a lightning lure, yanked you back into it, and as he does, there is a chain that wraps around him and yanks him off, and you both fly backwards into the plume of sand. As it comes back down, you're both dragged to the ground, falling prone into the dust and debris. And meanwhile, Carius, you just see this hovering ballista sort of like kind of hovering forward. It's still flying towards the finish line, but your brother and Kashan are nowhere to be seen. You just see this collapsing sand dune.
Yeah, and I'm just like, you know what, I'm just going to win the race and then I'll find them.
Fantastic. Cool. Damn, so really his little cockiness was his own downfall. Carius, you crossed the finish line. At first, everyone's like, huh? There is a couple of like different races. There's a crowd of people, there's some gnolls, and they're all confused at first. Like, who's that racer? And there's an announcer like, and in first place is Zarilius? No, an older looking Zarilius. Red hair, white horns. My goodness, I think we have a new racer. And
I'm just like, did you just say? Well, I suppose I do, but still, it's Carius.
Carius, we have Carius. Everyone's like, huh? Ah, screw it. And they all start cheering anyway. Your glaive cuts through the red ribbon on the finish line. And yeah, everyone goes into a full cheer.
Oh.
Amazing.
First prize to Carius. But this was just the tryouts. So you've qualified. Congratulations. Carius, what do you have to say to all your new fans? There's a load of gnolls standing like before you.
I'm just like, I'm trying to consider the appropriate answer, and it's like, you know what? That's what you get for trying to beat me at my own games, Aurelius. Ha! Beat you this time.
Oh, always coming out with the smack talk.
Also, no, guys, you might want to put the big wheel on the back of the vehicle, not the front next time. Might work better.
Like, look at their schematics. There's a number of like equations floating above their head and pie charts and stuff. They don't seem to get it. Meanwhile, Kashan, Zarilius, you're just sort of lying in a pile of sand, almost completely buried. And Zarilius like, ah, stupid burnt cat, you're gonna ruin everything. It's only the first 3 that get qualified.
Well,
Ah,
it looks like the best tiefling won.
it doesn't matter. I can still make it to the next race. He starts getting up out of the sand, like completely covered.
I'll
He says,
stand up and walk beside him. It's like, well, I mean, it's just the 2 of us left, so.
no, there's plenty of other races. Me and the Knolls had a good lead on everyone else. I'll tell you what.
Okay.
You give me a piggyback, and I'll make it worth your while.
Yeah, of course, sure thing. But just
I'll
beforehand,
even give you these goggles. Here. He grabs them to the front of your head.
I need to make sure that you're of the correct weight for me to carry you. I mean, after all, us Tabaxi are known for carrying people, aren't we?
He stands
If
up.
you
And
just
you can
wait
tell
there-
he's a lot shorter than Carius is. Only 11. In fact, he says, "You know, I'm only 11, right? I weigh hardly anything. That's why I'm able to get away with a flying ballista."
Okay. Well, if you could just hold on to this, okay?
What do you hold?
So I hand over this tiny little stick, like this big.
Okay.
Okay. And I say, okay, so this is just it's a normal tabaxi thing. Don't worry. So if you just kind of position it about here, okay. Okay, and now this is the very important part. I need you to lie down, just with this part dug into the sand.
Roll me an deception check.
Okay, perfect.
Gonna roll an insight.
Yeah, that's cool.
Sneaky.
Beat him.
I'm actually proficient.
Oh!
Damn it.
It's a tie.
Roll up again.
It'll be really funny. Come on.
Roll again.
Oh, I've got something funny planned as well.
I quickly put. Oh wait, no, fuck. Okay.
He's like, why? He's like, this doesn't make any sense. Just
Oh, it's perfectly
You
fine.
would
I
think
steady my pace, put my hand on the other side. The zippity yip electric boogaloo too. I just watch him fly. I just
roll
kind
me
of.
one last perception check because this is insane. Oh god, I think he's failed. He seems like a little bit distracted. Fine. As long as this wins me the race, and as soon as you finish that, he's like, what? And then like a pogo stick just flies up and into the air.
I
Yeah.
just grab the staff as he gets launched, and then I'm like, wow, that worked better than expected. Then I dash off.
Oh god. Great. Well, somehow he doesn't even come down. You just hear a loud like a thunderclap in the air. And as you dash off towards the finish line,
At 200 feet, by the way.
well, we're gonna say you had to use your action and bonus action to do that. So you just run your movement.
100 feet.
But 100 feet because he can do his
Feline.
tabaxi dash because
Yeah.
his feline agility.
Haven't you been doing that since the start?
No, he
no.
hasn't needed to because he would have had to stop each turn. His movement would have been even faster for that turn
Oh god. Okay.
because that puts your base movement to 100 feet, doesn't it?
Correct, yes.
Awesome. So, yeah.
All right. In that case, he doesn't clamp onto your back because you're just too far. But you do catch up to Karras at the finish line, and he's reaping the rewards of all the cheers, and you've been given a qualifying badge as well, Karras.
Awesome. As
Yeah.
does
Medallion.
Aurelius end up like going towards the finishing line still, like on his own power?
He's about to, but before Kashan gets through the finish line, you do see a ballista that comes to a very slow crawl.
Does that
Past
I
the finish
just sort of look to them and like, does that count as him passing the finish line?
No, both you and your vehicle need to cross the finish line.
Okay, so I'm just waiting, and I'm just sort of walk over to the finish line, and I'm just waiting for my brother with like a hand held out, like just over the finish line, like I'll drag you the last little bit of the way.
Okay. You see that he is catching up, and he's using all of his sorcery powers to make it happen. It looks like he's losing altitude. However, as he's thunderclapping and fast stepping through the air, you see little puffs of sand. He's kind of like jumping on, and he's coming down. Like looks like he's going to come in for a sliding finish.
As he gets within 30 feet to me, I would want a wisdom save from him.
Oh my god! Bullying him now.
Please fail.
Oh, it's a fail.
Right, he gets teleported 120 feet back as I use scatter to teleport him back.
Oh my god! Oh, that's harsh. That's cruel.
And I'm just like, the like verbal component for this, because it's purely a verbal thing, is like, this is what you get for the cactuses or cacti. Not having you correct me over that. Thank you.
Okay, so he gets closer and he's just about to cross the line when suddenly he's like, his eyes go wide as he's just suddenly vanished back 120 feet, and you hear the small clopping of hooves across the sand. Maybe not hooves, but more like just thuds. And you see there is a rather large camel coming straight past Aurelius, and on top is a large set of robes and fine silks, and they've got this kind of hat that kind of lowers down with a mask that covers almost their entire face. Either way, you hear the announcers shout, "Oh, and the dry runners are coming in third, it looks like." And you see this large camel just like kind of come to a steady clop, and you see the rider dismount and like holds up both her arms and just gives out a cheer. And a couple of other races do catch up as well. Aurelius does make it just walk. He doesn't seem to be rushing anymore. After the third place, you just see Aurelius just making a steady walk towards the finish line, covered in sand, not looking pleased at all. His cocky face wiped off.
Whilst I'm waiting for him to catch up, while waiting for this, I just sort of go over to like the announcement guys. He seems to know all the rules. I'm like, is it possible for someone to hand over their qualification to someone else?
Well, they could withdraw from the race, and it'll go to the next placement.
What position did Aurelius come in the end?
I came in like 5th probably at this point.
No, that could still work. That could work. I sort of head over to Kashan and I'm just like,
we could kill the opposition.
No, I'm thinking. No. See, what we do is we've got one up on him, so we'll agree to drop out.
Oh.
And then he would be in 3rd, so he would qualify.
But he electrocuted me.
I know, but we'll make it. Just go back over. How soon would they have to turn over their qualification before, like?
Well, if they're withdrawing from the race, then it could happen any time between now and the next race.
And when's the next race?
In a couple days.
Okay, that gives me plenty of time to lord this over my brother. Right. Excellent.
We'll be doing it in the Rattling Ruins next time. Be there. And we best go before the idea guards show up. We've made quite a lot of noise with those thunderclaps. And you do realize that you've kind of gone very far north at this point.
I'm like, wow, that's actually probably my fastest trip to Gadia. Nice.
Might be.
I managed
really
to run.
He says, he's like getting sand out of his ear, and he's like, "What the? These weren't even part of the race to begin with."
Yeah, but you told me to race.
And you electrocuted me.
And you electrocuted my friend.
Basically cheated yourselves anyway. Coming into the finish line, that was literally the final stretch.
Yeah. Well,
You smell of sand.
Now, here's the thing. Here's the thing, Squirt. And I'm gonna call you that because I can.
Okay, one horn.
Yeah, but at least my god pays enough attention to strike me with lightning. They ignore you, but whatever.
That was a punishment.
Yeah, but at least they care enough to punish. You just sort of glide along. But anyway.
That's because I'm favored. And he holds back up on top of his ballista. See, even my mount is more impressive than you. You got a tiny little glaive. I got a full-on ballista.
Oh. You think this is my mount? No, this is just the lifeboat for my mount. I'll show you the real thing when we get back to town.
He squints. He raises an eyebrow.
He's not coming aboard.
No, maybe we can get him to swab the deck. And so, brother, I've spoken to the announcers, and I can see that being part of this race is a big deal to you. And I've got better things to be doing than this. So, me and my friend here are considering giving up our positions, which would put you in third place and allow you to qualify.
Speak for yourself! He electrocuted me!
Wait, but you've got to make it worth our while.
Also, if Carius drops out, I'm going to be in the first place.
You want me to split the winnings? Really?
No. Wait, what are the winnings?
A bucket load of gold.
How much gold is that? I just want to see if it's worth my time.
Let me think here. First place gets...
Nothing is going to be worth Carius's time. You just got paid a buttload of gold.
Yeah, that's why I'm checking.
Make it worth Kashan's while.
I have currently I have 3,057 gold.
Nothing. He says first place gets 10,000 gold.
Oh, actually, that's fairly impressive.
Deal.
How many races? Is it just one more, or?
Let me think. That was the yellow line. Next is the red line, which is the Rattling Ruins. I think it is. Yeah, I think it's the final race.
And just to check, actually, what's the rules on vehicles for this? Like, you've got your ballista. Obviously, they had a car.
Wagon. Yeah.
A wagon. The one had
a camel. They're fairly loose, but there is definitely a board of inspectors that check them out.
Do you reckon we could enter the shooting kiosk? Because nothing's gonna catch that.
It has to be. Oh yeah, there is one rule. It has to fit within the starting lineup roster. So if you're too big to fit, not like no, if you're too big to fit on the track, you're not gonna be.
Yeah, probably not. So 10,000 gold. That's definitely tempting. But I do have. We'll discuss it once we get back home, which we'll have to do pretty quickly because Mum wants to,
I'm late for dinner, am I?
Yeah.
This is why you came out here? Because I was late for dinner?
Yeah, I mean, you've got to celebrate me coming back with 3,000 gold.
Such a mummy's boy.
And you're such a daddy's boy. But I don't see daddy round, so you're obviously not doing a good job.
Wait, what? Where's Dad?
I don't.
I think this is getting maybe beyond a personal
Yeah.
situation.
Actually,
I'm going to go over here.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the things I'm hoping to discuss. Essentially, Dad and Saza are late, which isn't like them. So,
I don't like them at all.
so
Alright.
I've kind of got some of my friends. You know what friends are, right?
He thinks for a moment. He says, well, I'll tell you what. If we're going back, then there's only one way to settle this argument. And he hops up on top of his ballista, and he goes, "Race you there! 3, 2, 1, go!" And he starts just launching off.
I'm just like,
It's perfectly fine. 200 feet.
yeah, I'm like, Kashan, do you want to race him? Like, normally I'd be all for it, but
But I mean, I haven't even broken a sweat yet.
yeah, I mean, you're in the desert. That's fairly impressive.
Yes, I was actually probably sweating more while we were flying and going not fast
Yep.
at all.
He says, "I'm well ahead of you already, Roadkill."
Can I change it again?
We will cut to the others after that, as you begin racing back with Aurelius.
Well, thinking about it, on that point, would that not be a good point to take a short break?
It might be.
It would be, because I need to find out where the heck my food is before I
Yeah,
kill
All
someone.
right. Speaking of food, when we come back, we will be back in the kitchen with Andy and Dodani, because we need to see what feast is being prepared. Hopefully, a Claude Coast specialty. Yeah.
Yep.
Be right back.
1, 2, 3.
Welcome back. All right. Though the race is done and dusted, there's still plenty more work to do and more party members to gather. So where are we now? Back to the Gold Coast. Okay. So Andy, going around in the wait, are you actually in the Astral Sea right now, hiding from Didani?
No,
Okay.
that was a joke.
Sure. Well, she does seem to still be holding on to the very tip of the cloak, sort of holding it around, playing around with it like it was this scarf material. And she's just like, yay.
Are you having fun there?
Yeah.
Okay.
You want me to show you to the kitchen?
You know I will probably eat you out of house and home.
You could try. You know we're farmers, right?
I could kind of tell, but okay. Show me
We
to the
have a
kitchen then.
surplus of food. So much that we put it all in a big boat and ship it over the ocean.
Well, I won the eating contest in Weep.
Whoa. Really?
I did.
But you're like tiny. This is
See-
coming from her.
See, the thing is, when you've lived on the streets since you were a baby, you learn to scoff all the food that you can get when you can get it.
My God. So you've just made up for like all those years.
Pretty much.
It's something to aspire to.
Become a street urchin like me.
Well, yeah. If
Winner
it
of
means I
all
can,
the eating contests.
if it means I can win at eating contests, then yeah.
Well, come with me, little disciple, and I will show you.
She claps her hands, and you begin going around the estate. She says, "Follow me, follow me," and you go around a series of wide steps and towards the sound of clattering pots and pans, and you do hear a light humming in the air. And you round the corner into a very large kitchen area. There is sun beaming through the open windows, and also equally as beaming is a happy-looking tiefling. She is probably in her see past all the rolls. Goodness, a lot of rolls. Yeah, she looks like she's actually quite old, more older than Carius, just a bit. She's probably in about her 30s. And yeah, she is playing Cooking Mama. She turns around, says, "Oh, Didani, what are you doing in here? Food's not ready yet. Go distract yourself. Go on." And you see, she looks up, and you're following in. Goes, "Huh? And who do I have the pleasure of meeting here?"
My name is Andali. I'm one of Carius's friends.
Ah, I heard that we had visitors. I'm trying as best as I can, but it's a big family. Lots of people to cook food for. My name is Dacilis. Or Dacily, is it? I'm gonna
Definitely
go.
works.
I think it is Dacily, otherwise it'd be two S's. Yeah. So yes, she says, "I'm Dacily. Welcome to my battle station, so to speak."
Well, thank you very much for the very warm introduction. That was unexpected.
Speaking of warm, and he goes over to like the cooker. Oh, these nearly to the boil. She opens up the pot, and you can smell the fresh scent of cooked potatoes. Ah,
Do you have any bread?
bread, of course. Help yourself.
You
And she
know,
opens up the pantry to see there is loaves and loaves, all types.
you
There
don't
are.
happen to have bread with spices and herbs in.
It's not something we've usually cooked up. That sounds like. She looks up at you and down at you and goes, "Sounds like some sort of recipe from the Dry Oasis."
She
Like-
kind of looks sheepish. She's like, maybe.
They like their spicy food over there. You know a thing or two about cooking?
No.
She squints. You sure about that?
Yes.
Well, do you want to help me anyway whilst you're here?
I don't know if that's wise. I've never cooked.
It's easy. I can show you.
Okay.
You can be my little assistant.
You know, leaving out the tiny detail that she steals all her food, so she's never had to cook.
Very true.
You know, who would have taught her how to cook?
Very
I don't
true.
think Raheem knew how to cook.
I'll tell you what. You can suggest things, and I'll throw them all together, and we'll see what we can get. Spice bread.
Do
That
you
could
have a spice
definitely
bread?
work. We have spices. Yeah, she brings you over. You know what? Let's just take you to a little kitchen area. Why not? Whee!
Yeah, she's going to take each of the spice pots and shove her nose in it and just go, no, 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 no. Oh, this one, yes. No, no. Until she finds the ones that she likes.
Okay, cool. Roll me a little investigation check to see what you can find of similar brand to the dry oasis. We do have a number of spices in here. After all. 14? Okay. Yeah, you find some things which are similar. They're not exact matches, and to kind of import spices from that far would be quite the trek. But let me just get rid of that. Change this. Redless. Okay, cool. All right. But you do find somewhere right at the back of the shelf, there are some similar spices. No, not exact matches. They will definitely do the job. And yeah,
Okay.
that's all.
And she puts those ones on the table and she goes, what else goes in bread?
Dough, which you can do to
Why is Andy
Danny.
spinning?
She has
For some weird reason, I can't zoom out, but I'm controlling Andy.
You've got her selected.
Oh, sorry, it was because my plate was on the
She's doing
control
like
button.
a little dance
Sorry.
about me. Oh, I'm so excited for bread.
My bad.
Bread. Okay. She goes over the processes of making bread, which is no. She goes. So there's 12 steps. We're just gonna quickly scale the ingredients, and she starts. Well, there's gonna be a lot of us. She keeps on adding more and more ingredients in. Is this all
Andy
there
just
are?
looks more and more confused.
How many of there are there? Didani, did you do your maths? How many people did you see come into the house? And Didani's like 1, 2, 3, 3 plus 1. So there's 4 of you? Dastily kind of looks up. So Carius, Irina.
Can she lean over to Didani and she just whispers,
Oh yeah. At 5. Dastily's like, okay, all right. We're gonna add in more then. And she just keeps on piling on the ingredients into the scale. And she goes, okay, this part's easy enough for you to do. And she comes over to like a very large bowl. Just says, okay, you can mix these and knead the bread. So you can roll me a, what's it called? You can use your strength, or you could use your, I mean, how do you, she just shows you very basically how to do it. How to like knead the bread.
yeah, I need the bread, yeah.
But if you want to adopt your own sort of,
I'm just trying to think whether or not she actually knows what she means by knead the dough. What way she would go about it.
Hmm.
Yeah, making biscuits.
Yeah, does she go to making biscuits or just kind of goes boom with it?
Just smacks it.
Didani comes over and it's like, this is what I do. And she just starts punching the dough. It's like,
Okay, strength check it is then.
Go ahead.
She does her best Kashan impression. Yeah!
Yeah. Destiny looks
Just gets her
around,
hand stuck in this dough.
eyes wide.
This isn't bread.
You sprain your wrist immediately. As you punch so far in, you hit the bowl, and the whole
Left
table
or
kind of like
right wrist?
depends what you punched with. You tell me.
Trying to think. I'm left-handed, so she can be left-handed, so it's her left wrist.
Oh dear, that looked painful. Destiny comes over and says, "Titani, that's a rather uncouth method. Come on." Okay, sorry, that's my fault. You know, I didn't make myself clear. Let's. Ooh, she says, "Does that hurt?"
Yes.
Okay. Hold
That-
on.
that- that's my fingerboard wrist.
Oh, you play instruments?
I play the violin.
All right, good.
I will play the violin again.
No! Don't be ridiculous. You're gonna be fine. Here, she gets a little bandage and makes you a little what's it called? A wrist strap. She's like, there. That should be okay for now. Tell you what, if you're if you're so good at music, maybe you could dance the bread into shape.
Huh?
Tadani, play us a little tune, will you? And she starts rapping on the table with like little knives and forks, and Dastley starts like thumping the bread with a not tambourine, a what's it called, rolling pin? That's the one. And they all start to sort of make a beat together. And he says, "Here, I'm moving this into a bigger bowl." And she goes and grabs like this massive container, probably more like a tub than anything, but it looks clean. And she puts all the dough in there, enough for like the whole Damzire family plus 5. And she says, "Here, now take off your shoes. I hope your feet are clean. Here, you know
She
what?
takes off her shoe and looks at the bottom of her feet, and they're black.
Let's wash those off. Real quick. Sit on the table, and she washes your feet for you very, very quickly and gets them all rinsed off. Uses some soap.
And he laughs the entire time because she's probably ticklish.
She says, "There. Now, roll up your slacks, and you can dance the bread into shape." And Didani continues to like thump onto the table. And I'm sure you can still play your tambourine with one hand, even though you sprained the other.
Oh yeah, you should probably hit it against her hip. So
There you go. Perfect. And you can roll me a performance check instead to get this bread into shape.
performing the bread. into
Yeah,
shape.
performance. You're dancing. Even with a 5, making it a 19 is incredibly good.
How?
Yeah,
You've seen what she's got for performance.
Andy can't do bad with dancing. It's
She's
just
got plus 14 to it.
Sure.
mad. Absolutely mad. She says, even with a sprained wrist, and the fact that you're dancing in the confines of a tiny little tub, you're
In dough.
amazing.
Why, thank you.
And she claps along. Okay, well that was quicker than expected. Let's.
Dancing is always better when you've learned from a fire genasi.
You are from the Dry Oasis, or maybe
Oops.
from Skydia. You do seem to have that kind of, air about you.
It's the accent, isn't it?
She nods. We've encountered many types from all over the Claude Coast, so we get to know some sounds and faces. Tell you what kind of stuff do they cook in the Dry Oasis? Well, apart from the spiced bread, we need like a main course, something that really kind of wow our newcomers. Give them the Claude Coast specialties. We have a lot of fish here, but trying to think, they don't have fish in the Dry Oasis, do they?
No. We don't have fish anywhere. I mean, I don't think they would even be able to survive. We would have cooked fish very, very quickly. I'm trying to think what else they would eat.
Well, this is your chance to invent something.
Probably a lot of things based around grain.
Okay.
And
Probably like salted and preserved meat as
yeah,
well. To keep it from like spoiling.
very little dairy, because of course dairy would go off very, very quickly.
Yeah.
So I don't know, maybe some kind of like almost like how you'd make like a egg fried rice or something, but instead with a different sort of grain, like a couscous or something.
Okay. Yeah, that could work. She pulls out some recipe books herself, and you do start to recognize some of the dishes and names of certain meals. Says, pick this one up from Guidia. This has got all kinds of recipes in it. Sure, we can give one or two of these a shot.
Her mouth is like salivating as she's just looking at the pictures of these dishes that she remembers.
He goes, so I'll let you choose, and you can point out pick a main dish and even name it if you want.
She probably picked something similar to what I mentioned, but maybe it's got bits of probably I would say dried beef or something, because they probably have some form of oxen or something
For sure.
that they use as a main staple, either that or pork. Almost like one of those things where you just bung it all into a big pan and you just toss it and mix it all together, and it's got all sorts of different flavors in it. And you can add spice if you want to.
Fantastic.
But not everyone does, so.
Oh no, they're gonna try for the spice.
Don't know what she's gonna call it though. I'll have a think about that.
Call it the
Okay,
Mushi
cool.
special.
The Mushi special. Cam will get that.
Yeah, there you
go.
Sounds good. It actually sounds like a food as well. Sounds like mushy. Like it sounds like all mushed together. But I'm guessing
Mushi
that's
was the
Ham's
name of his
character, isn't it?
character in my campaign, so.
Yes, I thought it was. It's gonna have noodles as well for some reason. Anyway, okay, cool. So mixing this all together, you can help Dasily on the preparation of everything. I think. Let's see here. You know what I think? I think cooking should be an art. Should be the expression of one's personality. So we should go with a charisma check.
Charisma.
And she says, "Now you gotta chop these, and you gotta what does she say? Oh yeah, and you gotta pick the things out of this, and there's lots of little intricate things to kind of get the food nicely prepared. There's a lot of like chopping and using lots of different tools. And she notices as you're going that you seem to be very good at using tools as well. But
Oh, I'm not liking how much she's noticing.
yeah. But give me just a straight charisma check first of all, to see how the artistry of this meal comes together. Still
9.
a 9. She says, okay. Oh yeah, no, she's aiding you as well, I did mention. So you'll have advantage.
Okay, let me roll it again then.
A little bit better.
12.
Okay, cool. So it seems to be a little bit of a clash between direction where you're trying to infuse it with your own styles. There seems to be her own kind of what she's used to making as well, and so she does things in a different method to what you'd expect, and it looks slightly different to what the meal is in the book, but that's not a bad thing. It just kind of shows a fusion of both cultures. And she says, well, it looks presentable. I think we need to A few more touches though. Yeah, let's add some garnishes and move on to some more intricate things, intricate details. So she's gonna ask you to like chop some tiny little things up and make decorations for it effectively. Not decorations, but you know what I mean.
Okay. I mean,
So
on
yeah,
instinct, if she asks her to do that, she'll get out like one of her daggers to use it to cut up the bits and pieces.
Don't use Datan. His cooking skills were terrible.
No, she wouldn't use the tan. She would use her other one.
Didani on the other side is gonna go up on a bench, and she's not being told to use any of the knives or anything, but she's like, "Oh, can I have one? I'll use one as well." And Dastly's like, "No, no, you can stick to using these." And she kind of gives them like a spoon and stuff. Yeah, why don't you help with this instead? She gives her a much more like safe job to do.
I think
Um,
what's the other one called? Mackin, I believe.
Mm.
Yeah.
but she looks across and goes, "Huh, is that one of ours?" No. Oh, you got your own. Okay, cool. You're full of surprises.
Yes.
I heard you're adventurers. So you know how to use
Yeah.
you know how to use a blade, hmm?
For the most part. Used to be
Remind,
just for defense, really, but
remind me not to get on your bad side. She kind of smiles.
no, it's I don't think it's me you really have to worry about. Some of the others, woo, they make explosions.
Right. Noted.
But don't worry, they're very good dinner guests.
I should hope so. That's probably all the more reason we should get this meal to taste perfect. That way they don't, I don't know, get upset.
I'm sure they won't. Food is food is food.
All right. You can
Just-
roll your thieves' tools check if you want, or even just a dex check with your dagger. I think thieves' tools is appropriate.
As a quick query, the thought of explosions, does that put anything in Dacilus's mind, considering she would know Irina?
Yeah, she does know. I mean, like, yeah, we had to keep them away from the dried food for a while. Just what was
My
it, corn?
commander features.
Oh, if it's not there, just roll a dex check and you can add your proficiency.
Yeah, she's got her jewelry tools, but I can't see her thieves' tools.
It's on there, but you can't click on it though.
Yeah,
So
Okay.
yeah,
I'll just do that.
and then add proficiency.
So 15.
15 plus 5.
So 20.
Okay, cool. Wow, 20 is a roaring success. So you managed to cut up these tiny little decorations, either like smaller vegetables to sort of go around the outside or garnishes put on top. And yeah, you've managed to kind of like make them all the same shape and size as each other so that there's no like just like odd ones out. And placing them around definitely makes everything kind of come to life and adds a lot of flair and character to it. And he
Ta-da!
says, "Ah, there, perfect. Now we just have to bake it all and hope that everyone's back in time." That's the trickiest part about cooking is getting it to be hot and on the plate, ready for everyone. It's kind of like something that's out of our control. Oh well, I guess we
You
can
mean-
make desserts in the meantime.
You mean this food is supposed to be warm?
Um,
Oh,
she looks at you and goes,
little
"Oh
homeless
dear,
hobo.
oh my dear, you really have been on the streets, haven't you? I mean, you've been out on, you've been adventuring for a long time, haven't you?"
Yeah. She doesn't admit, been on the streets since she was a
No.
baby.
Says, "Well, it's okay. You're in a nice warm homestead now, and this is going to be a nice time to sort of kick back, relax, and enjoy a good cooked meal for once. None of those stale rations you've probably been having on the road.
No, I eat all the bread. That's the only thing that goes stale, and that I always eat it before it does.
Well, you'll only find fresh bread in the Damzire estate, straight off the fields, into the pot and onto your plate. Oh yeah, we got her artwork here. Let me just show you. Oops, should have showed you earlier. There she is. Cool. All
Like,
right.
you
well-
are one very awesome person.
Yeah, well, I've been brought up with lots of friends and family, so I've had a good life, I guess. I hope everyone else can, enjoy the meal and remember a little bit of our home and our hospitality. If that is a small little gesture, it's going to go a long way, I'm sure.
Sometimes it's the little things that we remember more.
Exactly. Plus, tieflings often get a bad rep. It's nice that we can be an exception amongst our kind, I guess. She whispers, "It's the infernal blood." People get a bit uh creeped out.
Well, when you come from a place that I have, you learn not to judge people too quickly.
Hmm.
Because usually the ones who have been cast out on the streets are actually some of the nicest people you'll ever met. Because they've known hardship. Whereas all those pompous, big, poof trouser people in the big houses don't understand what it means to work hard.
Well, I thought I knew I would like you the moment you walked in. Although we live in a big house, we started with nothing when we came to this place. It was a barren desert. We were, well, long ago, we couldn't do any trade, not in the capital at least. There was just too many people who just gave us a bad reputation, and I think our mother and father had it rough. But as time went on, they decided to up and leave, find out if they could make it on their own somewhere else. The city was too much competition. There were lots of barren land masses in. I mean, you look anywhere and it's just there's land. But my family had a little bit of a magical edge, shall we say. And they used their gifts of sorcery to grow crops and find a way to make a life, even in the barren desert. Brought rains, brought fertile soil, and before you know it, crops were popping out the ground and they started making a living for themselves. But it all started from just barren soil and barren desert. And they
You
built
know,
all of this.
you know what you could do? That
Hmm?
would make an amazing book. You could turn it into a book. It could be
From
one of these cool, like, how do they put it? Self-help, but also inspirational. You could throw in some adventure if you wanted to, just to spice it up a bit.
oh, there was plenty of adventure. Apparently, we had to fend off from wild animals and desert-dwelling monsters as well.
See,
That
there you go. Perfect book.
I don't even think that story's ended.
But
You
that's the
see,
best kind where you leave them open at the end.
she kind of gives a nod and a smile. And I heard one of your one of your adventuring party is a scribe as well.
Yes.
Is that right?
I mean, if you're talking about who I think you're talking
A
about, then
librarian.
yes, that's the one. Yes.
Yes. Mhm.
I mean, you know Irina.
Maybe they could help get it published.
Possibly,
I know she knows.
but I don't know what the librarian really does. She just seems to like books. I don't know if she actually helps make them.
Well, it's something to look into. And Didani goes, "Oh, Leslie, tell Angelia the one about the dragons." And she looks around and goes, maybe come bedtime, yeah? You're a little bit too old for bedtime stories, right?" He leans forward. I mean, I can tell you about it if you want, but
Maybe some other time. Shall we finish
Sure.
cooking?
yeah, let's do that. So you kind of go about finishing off the desserts. What's a dry oasis dessert? What do you reckon?
Probably something to do with like mangoes or
Oh, yes.
yeah, probably mangoes. I imagine they grow quite all right, or papaya or something.
With cinnamon sprinkled on top and some
Ooh.
sugar.
Oh.
Sugar cinnamon.
And then like put in the oven so it's all caramelized. Oh
Ooh.
man.
You had me at
Or
mango and
melons.
cinnamon.
Whoever said melons, yeah.
Yeah, you had me at mango and cinnamon. I don't think they could
That
go.
was me.
They can't go wrong. So there's not going to be a roll involved. That's pretty much a natural 20. Based on those.
I've
They're
made
two of
myself
my,
hungry.
There's fudge right there.
Yeah, but
two of my
fudge isn't
favorite
mango.
things. Mango and cinnamon are like win-win. So yeah, fantastic. They're like instead of a toffeed apple, it's a cinnamon mango.
Mm. I've had figs like that before. So.
Oh, that's good stuff. And Didani, he seems to be trying to put her finger in the cinnamon pot continuously, and is getting a sugar high. She starts bouncing off the walls.
She's literally me.
Yeah.
If anyone, Ashley asks, if anyone asks, she's just in a good mood to see her big brother.
Give her 5 minutes, she'll crash. And she'll be on the floor.
Quite literally, or because she does seem
Quite
to be
literally.
almost walks into the cupboard with the plates, a lot rattling. I think we're good. Didn't smash anything. All right, calm
Or you
down
know,
to that.
making pillow forts. She's done that before.
Out of like sacks of grain, yeah, she probably
To be
does
fair,
that.
that was alcohol, not sugar.
But that was it had a very high sugar content in
Yeah,
it.
that's true.
At one point, she goes missing for 5 minutes, and as Dasley kind of goes over to fetch like a pot, she opens up the cupboard and Didani like jumps out and it's like, "Whoa!" It's like, "Oh my god, I didn't even know we were playing hide and seek." Scared the infernal blood out of me. Anyway, let's
Hellish
calm
rebuke.
down. Yeah, it turns into a demon. Oh god. Anyway, yes, you've prepared food though. The desserts go on continuously into the evening before the others get back, hopefully. But right now, I think we should swap over to a more serious tone.
Yeah, I'm just gonna mute for a second. I've been dying to blow my nose for like the last 20 minutes.
Knock yourself out.
Do it.
Okay. Cool. All right.
That's
So-
better. I can breathe.
Velen, your familiar does not come back within the hour, and you've been traveling for quite some time.
Oh my god, what happened?
What on
It's,
earth is...
it's flickering.
Oh good, it's not just us then.
My
Yeah, the
eyes!
map is like
It's me as well.
was
Okay.
flickering then for a moment, so I just refreshed my.
Yeah, I'm just refreshing it now.
Refresh.
My eyes.
Not intended.
Ugh. There we go.
Kind of like one of those things where you'd have like a subliminal message behind it.
God, was it that bad?
Is that on purpose for Twitch?
Subscribe!
Subscribe. We are only several followers from affiliate
2.
2.
Must click subscribe.
Ah,
Must
Yeah.
click
All right.
subscribe.
Okay, so the shoreline continues to lap up against the dry sands, and you're making your way parallel to that shore. And eventually, after a couple hours or so, say a few hours, no, yeah, a few hours, you eventually start to see flotsam planks of wood shattered, and there is what looks to be the large front mast, bent and sticking up in the horizon. And approaching it, you start to see the wreckage of a large vessel strewn about in pieces, the front half of which has sunk somewhat into the sands here.
Do we want to try and stealth in case?
I mean, we could just like pretend we've been sent to investigate the crash. No harm, no foul. We're all dressed appropriately. I mean, 2 mages and what looks like a reporter.
Sure.
The tiefling times.
I mean, we could try to be stealthy if you want, but poking around this, if people are keeping an eye on it, it's not going to do much good.
Yeah.
But this was your idea.
I'm following you because you want
Oh, great! You're following me. Let's go.
me not to be a troublemaker, so we'll go with your plan.
Good. Let's go home. You heard him. Let's go. I'm in charge. Bye bye.
Literally, you put these two together and all they do is bicker.
Briseus is like, what? We're right at the scene of the crime. We have to find clues and potential murder weapons.
Murder weapons? The ship crashed.
Right,
What
there might be a cannonball somewhere.
What is our plan?
You've never done this before, have you?
If there's pirates, are we aiming to capture them? Speak to them? What are we trying? What's the end game here?
I don't know. You dragged me here.
Are we getting revenge for the sailor? What?
Obviously, we need to track them. If they're here, we'll stay hidden, follow them back to their hideout.
So
But
we do want
why?
to be stealthy.
Yeah.
Why? What are you trying to do?
What do you mean? What am I trying to do? This is helping the city. We need to flush out these pirates so that our trading routes can be open again.
Are we aiming to knock them out, or are we like?
I just said we're gonna stay hidden and see if there's any, then we can follow them back to the hideout. Once we know where they are, then we can get a bigger fighting force. Give you a
Sure.
wink.
I still think this is a bad idea, but I know you'll only go in anyway, so...
Sure.
Okay.
We'll,
Right.
we'll stealth, but as soon as we spot anyone, I'm gonna have invisibility ready for the 3 of us.
Okay. Stay behind me and roll a stealth check.
Yeah. Okay. This is.
Bad
I'm
idea.
great at stealth.
Come on.
I'm not too bad at stealth.
Nor is she. Okay, just Irina. All right, perfect. So, skirting around the outsides of the wreckage, trying to keep low, maybe ducking behind like a crate or one of these smaller ships. You get close enough that you start to hear something. And you also see something coming out of the shore. Emerging from the waves are not large, but like slightly taller than humanoids, you could say. Like white, broad-shouldered, scaly creatures fins protruding from their faces. They wield tridents in their hands. And as they begin to come up onto the shoreline, they're picking through the wreckage, and they seem to be peering out across the shoreline. And you quickly all duck down behind some nearby crates and behind this small rowing boat.
I think their hideout is in the sea.
Does anyone speak? Never mind. You don't understand their language at all. But they seem to be speaking again in a language you've heard, don't understand.
I don't have time to proper comprehend language.
Nope. And as you're all hidden, you see them again, kind of getting closer. They seem to be looking for something. And as they turn around, they shout out back from the way they came. And you start to see another creature emerge.
Do they seem to be making like any gestures as to what they might be looking for, like description wise? Like, are they making like shapes with their hands, or
They seem to be lifting up planks of wood, looking for something, but they don't. When they find a crate, they don't seem to be interested in opening it.
so they're potentially looking for something small and loose?
No, they look to be looking for something larger, but they don't seem to be interested in the goods.
Does
Okay.
the slightly larger one look familiar?
They do look familiar, but not in the way that you've seen them before, but in the way
Okay.
that you've seen this type before.
Okay.
They are wielding a similar looking stave and what's the word? Trinkets, like bone-like trinkets, human bones. By the looks, there is actually humanoid skulls, kind of lashed to one of their tridents as well, and they seem to be the same that you saw out in the open sea.
Yeah, I thought it might have been the one that got away,
Mm-hmm.
but guess not. If it gets too close, I'm popping invisibility at level 4 to get all 3 of us.
Okay. They do seem to be getting closer.
Yeah,
They
So
might
I'll-
pop them out.
I'll pop it about now then.
Okay. As they get closer, they go right up, and Brasilis like brings up her finger to her lips, and just as she does, she turns invisible. It's like, what the? And you see that they come over towards the boat, and you hear them like seem to be finding something, and they lean into the boat and begin hoisting something out. It is a body. Looks to be one of the sailors.
Oh, it's
They
this
don't-
again.
Mm-hmm.
They're getting bodies to do another ritual. We gotta do something.
They begin dragging it back towards the sea edge.
We gotta do something. I'm gonna.
We
Fine.
can't do anything now. We need to get the others. We know what's happening here. We can figure it out from there.
Okay. And you hear Briseus say, "Hey, psst, guys.
Yeah.
I see some tracks in the sand over here.
Okay.
You can't see me. Just follow my voice. Stay low." And you can tell she's like crawling across the sand because you can see her hands and knees like pushing through the sand.
Oh my god, just because we're invisible doesn't mean we don't leave tracks.
She points. She's like, "Look, see?
Oh, I'm
Footprint.
stuck with amateurs. Oh.
I'm
This is-
stepping across the boards so I don't
Yeah,
leave.
I'm gonna tiptoe across very carefully on the boards instead of the sand.
Okay, that's clever." She says, "Look, footprints. They head east."
Yes,
We're
just
not
like
far-
the ones you're leaving.
She ignores you. We're not far from Shamshir Cove. They must have gone there. think we're hot on the trail, guys. Don't know what these guys are up to, but
Just leave her to it and go and get everyone else.
Carius would kill me if we let his sister get killed.
This is so stupid.
follow me.
So dumb.
I know.
I say we knock her out and we just take her back. Have I got anything that can do that? Hold on.
Ooh, it looks like Trax must have. She with a 22. She goes. I can tell there was at least a group of them. One of them has 3 clawed toes, which means they must have been one of those lizard folk. And if they came here, that must mean they're patrol.
God damn it!
They
Everything
knew-
I can do to like get her away from here takes a willing creature.
And there's some drag marks as well. Looks like they took some of the took some of the crates. That means the pirates already came here, looted the ship, and they're back at their hideout. This trail needs to be tracked before it. If we come back here, the tide would have washed the tracks away. We need to go now.
Right, but once we find the hideout, we leave, right?
That remains to be seen.
We can come back another time once we find the hideout.
Against my better judgment, we leave once we find the hideout.
Can't plan for everything. Just follow my lead.
No, we're not asking. We're telling you. We've done this sort of thing before. Trust us, please.
We'll see. well, first of all, let's find the hideout. And we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Okay.
You mean,
Uh,
But this is what's gonna get you killed, girl.
you mean we'll burn that bridge once we come to it?
No burning. Wait, don't tell me you burn stuff as well. Don't answer that. Okay,
I don't say anything. I'm just quiet and invisible.
great. Okay, so you can all roll me a survival check to follow these tracks. If you do indeed locate the hideout.
Sure. Oh, I didn't roll that well.
Well, that's a good job she did. Yeah, it's probably a noticeable hesitation from both of you. Like, you don't want to find the hideout because that means potential danger. Whereas she is hot on the trail. She's got 22. And she's like, this way, come on. Oh, by the way, I
It's
can
not
see...
even about finding the hideout, it's about the divided party.
Yeah, it's true.
I mean, I can deal with her when it comes to it, but Carius won't be happy with what I do.
Oh,
I mean, he won't be happy if his sister gets hurt either, but you know. Are you gonna polymorph her? Please tell me you'll
Yeah.
polymorph her.
all right, so you come around to a much more rockier, sheer cliff. It's kind of like you're going up the incline continuously, and the sand gives way to rock, and you can hear a louder crashing of waves against the rocks from below. There also seems to be, funny enough, more planks of wood, and you can see little posts stuck in the what are they called? Yeah, like stuck into the rock as well, and they seem to lead around like a walkway all the way around this sheer cliff face. And as you're going around, you follow the planks, or do you gonna go? It's up to you if you want to go along the sheer mountain cliff, or you can follow these kind of wooden planks that have been laid out. These posts, they seem to lead to a staircase that kind of just goes down to the actual rocks themselves where the waves are hitting. You got two ways you can go.
Do we want to take the high ground?
Well, she
You-
says, well, the trail leads this way.
You muted yourself.
Yeah, I know. I've realised that. The struggle.
It's getting late, so yeah.
But like, if it's a hideout, why would you make it so obvious? So
I know.
maybe avoid the planks. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe take the high ground. The last thing we want is to get bashed against the rocks if we fall in.
Okay, but how are we going to get down to the hideout if we're so far up?
Oh, there's ways.
All right, I'm following you. Okay, so ignoring the planks and the stairs going all the way around, you kind of try to navigate up the cliff face instead. So this is going to be a bit trickier. I'd like you to roll me athletics checks.
Athletics.
Yep.
Actually, athletics is better for me. But not if you roll crap.
Okay. It is very windy up here, and the threat of being knocked off is quite high. Besides that, there is also the sheer cliff face, and it's rough terrain. It's rocky, you keep slipping, and you are getting very close to the edge, but there's this kind of big jagged field of rocks before you that you're trying to climb over, and it's proving way more difficult. You keep slipping on the rocks before you can scale them. But you're near the edge. You're some 150 foot from the edge.
Do we try to continue or go back and go the other way?
It's up to you guys. You have another way of getting over it.
We have another way of getting over it?
Do you? I don't know. Polymorph, teleport, fly. She says, "Ugh, my brother would just fly over this if he could."
I really don't want to just waste
She
spells.
says, "The edge is just there. Once we get there, we probably have a really good view of the surrounding area."
If I cast fly, am I able to pick people
Not with your string, no.
up?
Just cast it on multiple people.
God. Damn it.
You'll have to
Is she-
upcast it.
Does she look strong?
No. You can see from her roll. You can see from her attempts to climb the cliff face.
Alright,
She's not strong.
I cast fly at 5th level,
There we go. Progress.
making me waste all my spells.
Says the wizard. Waste spells? What, you got oodles of spells. Anyway, at the mention of Karis being able to fly, you just sigh and cast fly. And she says, "Oh, no wonder you're friends with him. Probably the only ones who can catch up with him." Okay, let's quickly hover over there then. And as you fly to the very edge, you peer down to below, and let's see what you see. Yes. There you are. Okay, looking down, you see there seems to be what can only be described as a ship that has crashed into the sheer cliff face. Although it hasn't splintered and broken apart, it looks like more as though the ship was just teleported into the sheer face. And below you, there are walkways, bridges, and there's even a mast sticking out of the water. And you can tell this is the walkway that matches the staircase you saw earlier, goes all the way around, and it's hugging closely to the edge of the cliff. It's almost completely invisible unless you were looking directly down or you went around the edge of this cove, but it's nicely nestled inside. And there is also a large mast that sticks out the side, perpendicular to it, and it has a flag that has 2 crossed scimitars and a skull in between it. And it's over here, and it's sort of lazily flapping in the wind. But yeah. Also, there is noticeably a scout that is atop the mast, a lookout. They have a quiver of arrows and a longbow, and they're just sat kind of looking out at the ocean at the moment. There's also another unsavory looking folk. Kind of got scars across his chest. He's got like a balaclava over his face. Not a balaclava, a bandana. Bandana across his face, and he's just walking up and down, patrolling the bridge, going up and down. And there seems to be another pirate right at the very bottom who is tying off one of these small little rowboats, and he's hoisting up some crates from it onto the deck. That's everything you see.
It's all made of wood.
Yeah, it is.
This could be easily dealt with if we just set it all ablaze.
Set it ablaze? Are you insane?
Gunpowder.
Exactly.
They
Do you
could have
imagine the size of the explosion? It's
Like
built
that,
into a cliff face. It's just gonna fall. That's just the dumbest idea you've ever had.
We don't need to be near it when it happens.
It's gonna affect the entire area around it. It's not just gonna affect this one little bit.
Shh, keep your voice down.
How close are we to civilization?
We're a few hours from civilization. What are you talking about?
Then what's the worry?
Because they could have sailors in there. They could have hostages from the crew. Didn't you remember? He said that some of them didn't make it or something. She flicks back over a notepad.
Yeah, it sounded to me like they were all dead. But yeah, what notes have you got before we do anything
Well,
right?
first of all, there's all the bounty,
Right.
and like all the actual,
Booty.
yeah, the booty that they would have stolen. And it looks like, from the way that bandit's going, yep, she kind of peers over, almost a bit dangerously close to the edge to get a better look. There's a way into the cliffside. That guy just disappeared into. Must be a tunnel down there, and she points down to it. Their hideout is in the cliff, which means that, and that guy just hoisted a crate in there, so there must be something they're keeping in there. If you burn all of this, I hope you have a way of getting inside still.
Right. What if I send my raven on a scouting mission?
I thought you sent your raven off to warn carriers.
I click my fingers and it just appears on my shoulder.
You see a very tired, worn-out bird. Breathing heavily.
Wait, familiars can get tired?
Yes. Not to
Imag-
mention they can telepathically communicate with you as well. I
Yeah.
think.
I give it a little breather, and then I confer with Irina if this is a good decision.
It gives you a quick vision of what it saw, by the way, whilst trying to keep up with the others. And at this point, you'd have seen that the Raven took part in the race, and unfortunately came last. As it was trying to get past all the debris and wreckage. It even evaded one of the arrows that the gnoll shot at.
Jeez.
Yeah. But the Raven came in last place, I'm afraid. Just as
So-
it crossed the finish line is when you pulled it back.
Do we want to attempt to scout this place out before we leave?
Yeah. Do us that invisible thing again.
No, not for us. I mean, and send the bird in.
Your bird can do that?
They
It's a
have a
bird.
lookout. If they spot the bird, they're likely to shoot it. You can try, but I don't think it's a good idea for any of us to go down there right now.
Can you make your bird invisible?
Could try. That's a.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try and invisible the raven.
Yeah.
so
yeah.
long as Irina is okay with this plan. because I don't want to. I don't want to do anything rash. I don't want to be a troublemaker right now. Yes? No? We leave? We stay?
I still think we should leave.
Do it.
Oh no! I'm gonna roll. I'm gonna roll a d20. What the hell?
Nothing.
If it's over 10, the bird goes in. If it's below 10, we leave. Okay,
Oh yeah.
I'm going to pop an invisibility on the
The Raven.
raven and see if that will work. Because I don't actually know if
Nice.
I've not done that before. Be
Okay,
interesting.
cool. So I will. You're a little raven. You can move yourself around as much as you like, and the raven is now invisible. And Priscilla's like, "This is awesome. You guys make excellent infiltrators and investigators."
I put my hand on both of their shoulders because I need to be able to.
Concentrate. Yeah.
Because I'm going to be looking through the eyes of the raven.
All right.
So I'm going to have it first quickly fly past this area to see into here.
Okay. You see, there is what looks to be a very muscular-looking bugbear, and he has a massive, huge morning star in one hand, and a set of javelins on his back as well. He's got this horned helmet, and he's currently doing a toast with one of the other captains. It might be. You can only tell. You can only guess by the long trench coat, the kind of number of what are they called? He's got like a bandolier of pistols, effectively, and he's got a bandana tied around his head and a tricorn hat on top of that as well, and a very long, kind of wiry beard. And they're both kind of toasting at the moment, like "ha ha, to a rousing success once again."
So we got 1, 2, 3, 4 on the outside,
Mm-hmm.
and then it'll go back.
But they're inside, but they're like at the back of the ship, effectively.
Yeah,
in
because
London.
I saw there
There's
was
like
an
a
open.
table and there's wine. And
Yeah.
they each got like a chalice each.
Yeah, I saw there was an open balcony, so that's why.
It is, yeah.
So and then in.
Okay, all right, in we go.
I've never used a familiar like this before. This is insane.
No, this is cool, isn't it? Right, 1 second. Just gotta grab your little raven, and then bring you back to there. Okay. So, which way did you just come in?
To
Came in through the tunnel, didn't you? Cool. All right. So unfortunately, the first thing you come across is a long tunnel and a closed door at the end of it. So, however, actually, funnily enough, you've just done this, haven't you? Like you did this like not seconds before. You see the bandit is pulling one of the crates, and he's coming to said door. So you're just in time, in fact, as this
Yeah.
bandit knocks. And it does seem to do sort of an actual rhythm to this.
I keep that in mind just in case.
Okay.
Is the screen supposed to be fully black?
Yeah, at the moment, because you're a raven.
Okay.
And
Okay.
as soon as he opens the door, the door on the other side opens for you. You do hear a number of chains and locks. Yeah, hold on. There you go. Is that the last of the haul? He says, yep, last crate. And he says, all right, take it to the storage. And then we'll wait for you. You can get in on this round.
I'll
Alright.
wait for the perfect time to go through.
Okay, you see the door is about to close as the crate is hauled through. And I'd like you to make a stealth check with advantage.
Stealth check.
for a raven. Your
Uh,
sheet should be a raven right now. So
My
just roll dex.
My sheet should be a raven.
Yep, open up your character sheet.
Uh,
Just double click that little guy.
there you go. There you go. There you go.
There he is.
Delve. Oh God.
Sorry. With advantage.
Uh,
Because you are invisible.
There's so many ravens on the screen.
I only clicked it once.
I know, but it came up like 100 times. Oh my
Okay.
God. Oh my God. What have you done?
I don't know. What have
There you
done?
go. Oh, it's not amazing, but
Ooh, it's not good.
it's invisible. So what are they gonna think it is?
Well, I can hear a flapping, that's for sure. Especially with that. Yeah, passive perception ain't great, but a 7 is dog. So yeah, they would hear as this guy's pulling this crate around. He hears a flapping, and he's like, "Huh? What's that? Is there a bat in here?
I
We haven't had bats for ages."
I parked
And
the bird down somewhere.
okay, you start to flap down towards somewhere, and these two pirates don't seem to be that intelligent. They start looking up and into the ceiling. Huh? What? And they start to look down the tunnel as well. And as you fly in, you can move your token to somewhere,
Uh,
anywhere within your movement.
oh, there's. Oh, he's done it again. No. Right, there you go.
You
I
can see
can't
there are. What?
actually see the just. It's
Can you
very spotty in terms of my view.
really?
I'm seeing like 5-foot spots.
That Raven doesn't have vision, dark vision, does it?
Would a raven not have dark vision?
No. I'll
It's a,
tell you what. I'll give you some vision.
it's a bird of the night.
Here you go. That's some vision.
Oh God,
Ravens aren't birds of the night.
I would
There you
think
go.
so.
You can see now, can't you?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Cool. All right. As these two are like looking around trying to find a bat, you see that there is actually a drow that has a winch, and he's kind of just busy just like raising it up right now. And
Yeah.
he sees the two bandits looking around, and he like squints his eyes, and his elven ears prick up, and starts to look around himself. A bat, you say? I got rid of all the bats. Shouldn't be any more. He starts to think. Hmm.
I'll wait for a quiet time.
He turns around, backs up, and casts Fairy Fire straight on the entrance.
On the entrance. Oh, okay. It should be fine then if it's on the entrance because that shouldn't be close enough.
Oh, you're like so damn close to it. The
I know,
thing
but
is, he can hear your flapping, and as you
But
kind of like land,
it's okay.
he can
okay.
hear where you were last flapping.
Oh
So he's gonna
no.
cast it right there. I need you to make a dexterity saving throw for the raven.
Oh no.
Not a
well,
bat, you imbeciles.
where's the dexterity? Dexterity. Saving throw.
13. It's DC 11. Drow have very low spellcasting modifiers.
Oh.
Says be on your guard. Unless, have you been drinking again? You smell of ale and mead.
S-
You're supposed to be on guard duty. Do not be so slack. And he still seems to be on high alert, but Laverne, your little crow, your little raven just dodges out of the way of it, like barrel rolls on the very, very edge of this fairy fire spell.
Yeah, and then I try and like skate the edge and like
Okay.
park here for a second.
You
Like
see
on
the
this.
bandit move over. He opens up this door and deposits the crate inside. Right, I'm done for the day. Gonna get a drink. And he actually goes over here, opens the door up.
I'll work my way in. Oh no, the
He
song.
closes the door behind. And as you come into this area, I'll let you have a little quick scout around because inside is a huge amount of individuals. There's a massive chamber. Looks like they've built an entire fortress into this place. There are tables, chairs. There's a fireplace that's even roaring somewhere. Don't ask how. But they've got like beer. They got like beer and flasks of ale that they're all kind of swigging. There's a table full of these frog-like individuals, and they're all kind of warbling amongst themselves. And there's also a set of orcs. They're kind of like clinking their mugs together. There's a lizard folk bartender who's currently like wiping one of the mugs clean. Looks at it, kind of like inspects it, and as you fly around the corner, there's another drow that kind of like looks around, maybe hearing you. But yeah, looks like they got a huge hideout here. And there was also behind the bar there was a massive, massive barrel that could probably be, I don't know, enough to feed a giant. But
As soon as I get to here, there's no doors.
yeah,
Open. I am going to pick a door. I'm gonna pick a door.
you can't
Okay.
open doors as a raven,
I'm
unfortunately.
gonna pick this one, and I'm gonna tap it with my beak, and then plant myself here, like up in this corner.
Let me just check what's in behind there. Okay, tick tick. You can hear a loud whacking, hammering sound coming from here. And it seems like your sound is drowned out by the hammering.
That doesn't work. Okay,
Mhm.
but there's definitely someone in there. Then
Yeah,
I do the same on this one.
no response. In fact, you're knocking echoes into a long, long passageway. You can't really, you don't
Right.
get any response or reply.
Okay, that's a dead end. Then I bring my raven back to me.
Okay.
Yes.
Well,
Definitely.
you don't have to despawn your raven, but you can come out of the eyes of it and talk.
Well, by this point, I would assume it's been a minute, and
Oh, yeah, but that's invisibility lasts an hour.
does it?
Yep, it's greater invisibility that only lasts a minute.
Oh yeah. Then I'll leave it in.
Okay, cool. Wait,
Thought
why am I back on the ship, right?
invisible.
Pirate Cove.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
But
we've
it
got
was an
four.
hour between the shipwreck and the cove, so there is a thing there.
So we've
Anyway.
got 4 on the outside. We've got another 16, possibly more on the inside. Some of them are kobolds. Some of them are weird frog creatures.
And
Gnolls, sorry, gnolls, not
oh,
kobolds.
God, actually, that was something I wanted to put in before we
A lizard folk and some drow. So yeah, good job we didn't go in, just the 3 of us. That's
There's one more thing I completely forgot to put on there. But she says,
What?
"Did you? Um, is that all you saw? What about on the balcony? Did you say you saw something?
on the
4 on the outside. I only saw 3 on the outside.
There's a bugbear on the outside as well.
What, like
There's-
down there? She gonna
yeah,
point to the balcony.
yeah, 2 on the balcony, 1 above, and 1 in the crow's nest over there.
Hmm.
But there's so many more inside. It looks like they've got a place where they store a lot of things. There was a room with a hammer going off. Probably someone making weapons for them. Don't know how many was inside that room. Couldn't get in. But I can keep my raven in there for a while. See if I can navigate into any of the other rooms if necessary.
Okay. Yeah. See if hammering. They've got a they've got a forge in there. That must mean they have a chimney somewhere around here, right? So the smoke can get out.
Do we see smoke anywhere coming out?
Both of you roll a perception check. The smoke's got to go somewhere. They can't just smoke themselves out.
It's true. That's true.
If there's a chimney, then we might be able to sneak in through there. Avoid a direct entrance. Yes, there is. You start to like peer around because you're up high and you chose this route to come onto the top. You do see there is a small little exit pipe, some way off. And you kind of thought it was just the sea foam smashing and hitting like the rocks, causing the steam or the sea spray to come up, but it's actually there is a small trail of smoke coming from the rock.
Is it a small pipe or is it
It's chimney sized.
so it's some we could potentially go down it?
You could squeeze down it. Yeah, a small creature would be fine, but medium-sized creature can be a little bit tough. It's going to be a squeeze.
I mean,
There'd be a check involved.
if it's chimney sized, a fat man can get down there. He does it every Christmas.
Well, we don't have that guy in this culture. And you hold on. So this connects to that room you heard the hammering from.
Yeah, it's the farmost
Must do.
room.
See if you can tap on the door again.
Okay, I do that.
I want to hear if they can. I want to hear if the hammering stops. And they kind of put their. You see, the blue-skinned.
She's
dwarf
starting
woman.
to make me suspicious now. She's not. I think she's after something else.
And she listens in, and you hear the. Okay, so you rap on the door again, duk, 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 and this time you do hear a voice. It says, "Are you deaf or something? You're gonna open that door or not? Maybe it's someone who's come to free me. Maybe they've got. Maybe it's your captain. Wants to give me some wine or something."
Breathe.
And you hear a voice that just says, he says, "Unlikely." And you kind of lose your hearing after you've been hammering inside close quarters for a while. But I guess because you're new around here, you're still not. You're still a little bit more sensitive.
Do they open the door?
You do hear a thud, thud, and a muscular humanoid opens the door. He's got a battle axe sheathed on his back, but he has a forged hammer in one hand. And as he opens up the door, you see the inside of what looks to be a small forge, but there are also manacles and cages inside this room as well. Small little holding cell.
I find my way into that room then.
His form, this muscular, it almost looks like a barbarian, if anything, is so big that he takes up the whole doorway. And to try and get past him, I'll require another stealth check. But
Okay. That's fine.
go ahead, roll me a stealth with advantage. And tell me the result real quick.
10.
Oh dear.
Oh,
Okay. That's not great. So your flapping alerts it. It is right up against his face. And as
I
you
go
hear
for
that,
through the legs.
you go through the legs. Okay, well, in that case, then he hears the flapping go down. He's like, huh? He brings up his heavy boot and says something before the lights go out, and your form is about to be squashed by the foot of this large figure. He will roll to hit with a disadvantage, but let's see what he gets regardless.
What's a Raven's AC? Oh no.
Oh man. Oh, 10.
12.
Your AC is 12.
Yeah.
Okay, he definitely hears you and knows that you're in the room, though. As you evade his foot coming down, a heavy thud like a giant stomping on its prey. You flap into the room and start to get a better look around here. You see you're almost flying into a set of manacles hanging from the ceiling, and all around are cages kind of fitted into the wall. And in one of those cages is a man that's kind of with his arms folded, his head to one side. He's got a white beard around his face, blue skin, and large tiefling horns.
Oh.
And that is where we'll have to end tonight's session.
Yeah, I parked the Raven on one of the cages, but yeah.
Okay. That is where we'll end.
One of Carrier's family members.
It looks like it. In fact, let me give you the artwork for him.
Wait, is that the other one we're looking for? The Lahiri.
Hold on. Let me get the artwork for you. Here is a woman. This is a guy with a beard.
Oh, okay.
Here we go. Should see that.
Who's that then? Is that the father?
It looks from the facial features probably to match the portraits you might have seen within the Damzires estate.
Oh, it is.
He has unmistakable features like Carius as well.
Oh no.
He has the same like hair, kind of like sort of length and waviness as Carius, but it's stark white, like
Oh,
and sort of salty. You know what I mean?
okay.
But that's where we're gonna end tonight's
Yeah.
session.
Yeah.
You got him pretty far with that Raven. I'm not gonna lie. And as you're like eyeing up the one you're suspicious of, as you're eyeing up goddamn names.
So quick sign off, yeah.
Yeah, we'll do that. Yeah, you may be suspicious of her, but there's a good reason why. Anyway, so we're going to sign off here. God, that's going to be interesting next session. But thanks very much for watching. We're only 2 followers away from affiliate, so if you've been tuned in, consider just dropping us a follow and helping us get to that little milestone. But yeah, otherwise, thanks anyway, and we'll see you all next week.
Yee. Bye.